Stand up, Got a hiccup there, Baddog. Up, yeah. New York Giant fans. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. What's going on, Baddog, man? Thanks for popping on the channel.
Yeah, of course. The hiccup, that's kind of what our season's been, so very fitting.
Yeah, that was incredibly fitting. Let's say hello to the chat. What's going on, Roger? What's going on, Max Weber? What's going on, Rudy? What's going on, Waterfly? What's going on, Word? Eric Garrison, Lake Nona in the house, Nikki in the house, Joelle, Pumpkin, of course. I know it's Punkum, but I call him Pumpkin. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Yvonne. Marjorie's in the chat. Sean's in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. So, Baddog, we got a lot to talk about. We've got all of a sudden, we've got what looks like a, can I quote, winnable game against the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, it's winnable. Listen, they got a lot of guys out. I also saw Kittle's out today. That came out that George Kittle's not playing. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of their offense anyway. I've never been a fan of Garoppolo. I don't think he's good, but he's got to be better than Nick Mullins. And no George Kittle, that's huge for us because tight ends have killed us notoriously. Deebo Samuel's obviously the guy they got a key on. No Mostert either. I mean, half their offense is out. And then, of course, they lose their best player on defense, Nick Bosa. So, and they're traveling across the country. I mean, this is a game the Giants got to win. I mean, let's face it, going into the season, I'm pretty sure everybody picked us to lose this game because the Niners, were in the Super Bowl. And, they a lot better than us. Their defense is great. And now they're all injured. So it makes it a little bit more even. And they certainly haven't looked as good as they did last year. So we have to win. I mean, we're 0-2. This division stinks. We're 1-2. We could be tied for the division.
Which is crazy. But you're absolutely right. I mean, when you look at this 49ers roster right now, it's not just Bosa. D Ford is out for the game. Solomon Thomas is out for the game. Richard Sherman's out for the game. Yeah. Mostert and Tevin Coleman at the linebacker, running back position are out for the game. Like you said, Garoppolo and Kittle. If I'm a 49er fan, I'm not too concerned with the running backs going down. I think they have, a brilliant offensive mind there with, and he's going to scheme and find a way to get that running game going. And it's not like Jerick McKinnon is laughable. The guy was a very successful running back with the Minnesota Vikings. I still think they'll be able to establish a pretty solid ground game against the New York Giants, which has kind of ironically been the New York Giants' Achilles heel on defense this year. Going into the year, we all thought for sure the run defense was what we could have depended on, being that we were fifth last year. Now, I looked into the numbers. I think we're 23rd in the league against the run, but almost half of our yards against are coming in the fourth quarter, which goes back. I think we've given up 276 combined yards on the ground. 130 of them have been in the fourth quarter, which goes back to the time of possession, our defense wearing down over the course of the game, and the third down conversions. We were 3 for I keep forgetting the number. I think it was 3 for 16. We're 3 for 13. We were 3 for 13 last week on offense on third down. They were 9 for 16. And that was the biggest difference in that game, and that's going to be the biggest difference in this game.
It was. They were actually 9 for 12 until the end of that game. We actually started to get to Trubisky a little bit, force some turnovers. And then, of course, they were 1 for 1 on fourth down, which is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen, that deflected ball that was caught by the center.
Oh, God. I forgot about that play, yeah.
Can anything else go wrong? And, of course, they didn't score, but it took off like another 2 minutes and made us use our timeout. So that was a huge play. But, yeah, I mean, listen, we're 0-2. We look really bad. The offense has to click. The offensive line's got to get better. We got to run the ball. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. It's funny, I went back today, and I think it was our third show. I like to watch the old shows. I like to go back and just see where we started, and I like to listen to what we said, see if any of it came true. We've been saying the same damn thing for 3 years. We got to establish the run, Chris. We don't run enough. We got to establish the run and win time of possession. It's like every show was the same thing. And that's what we have to do now. When I talked about Devontae Freeman, Barkley's the most talented back I've seen in a long time. Perhaps his running style doesn't fit our offensive line. Maybe a Devontae Freeman's running style will mesh with the offensive line. I don't know. I don't know why Barkley could never get any yards. But perhaps Barkley danced around a little bit too much in the back because we've seen him do that. Maybe Devontae Freeman just goes straight out. He's also a much better pass blocker. But I don't really know what we got with Devontae Freeman. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, with Freeman, I don't think, a lot of people may think he's replacing Barkley. I look at it like 3 guys are replacing Barkley. I think it's going to be a committee. I don't see Freeman getting more than 9, 10 carries throughout the game. I think they'll split it up pretty evenly between the 3 of them. But the committee approach could work. we're not going to be near this. I don't want anybody listening thinking that I'm saying that we're going to be near this, but everybody panicked when we lost Barber. Obviously, Barber led the league in rushing, I think, that year that we got rid of him. And then they bring in 3 running backs, and the committee approach really worked. And I'm not saying it's going to be that successful, but it's not like it hasn't been proven to be successful before for the Giants, and a lot of teams throughout the league do that.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is our offensive line was God back in those days.
Yeah, of course.
Demond Bradshaw, Derek Ward. I mean, the offensive line was great. What game was I watching? I was watching an old Giants game. It had to be 2000. Maybe it was 2011. And I'm just sitting back there going, "Oh, that's what a good offensive line looks like."
It's been a long time.
Look at Eli Manning step up. Look at that hole for Ahmad Bradshaw to run a 32-yard touchdown. Look at that. Oh, that's what that looks like. I forgot.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had gaping holes for our running backs to run through. True Rappless, man, thank you so much, man. He says Sunday is going to be fun to watch, and so is the live. You never disappoint. Keep up the good work, brother. True Rappless, man, thank you so much, man, for being a great supporter of the channel. I always see you tuning in my videos, my live streams, man. Thank you so much for being here. And listen, man, I think Sunday's a winnable game. We're going to talk more about it, of course, throughout the stream, but I definitely think it's a winnable game. I also want to run a stat by Baddog. I don't think I've gotten to tell you it yet. Zach Phillips, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, Wentz for turnover of the year. Oh, Wentz has been horrible, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I even made fun of him in that video I did today. Somebody said Mark Holmes did a breakdown. Yeah, someone gave him a comment. It was a Zeke fan. He said, go to Mark Holmes's live stream. So I ran in there real quick, and he's like, Baddog, I see it here. He's like, I broke your video down when it started. So he's like, you stink, but at least I like the way you do your videos. You're not this guy or that guy. You're not an arrogant Giants fan. I was just having fun with those guys. You all stink. Gotta laugh. This division's terrible.
This division's been terrible for a decade. I wanted
Super Bowls here.
I wanted to talk about this stat because I thought it was interesting when I dug it up. This was supposed to be a defense coming into the year that we expected a lot of blitzing. Obviously, with Patrick Graham coming over here, he blitzed, I think, over 40% of the time on third down with the Dolphins. It hasn't been that way, yet we've gotten more pressure. Last year with James Betcher, we blitzed 30% of the time. We're only blitzing 12% of the time right now, yet we're on pace to have 48 sacks in comparison to 36 last year. The defense has been much better, and I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching staff and the players. Obviously, the players hopefully maturing, but I think the coaching staff has a lot to do with that. And it's really encouraging when you see we're not blitzing, yet we're still getting pressure. You said it several times throughout the stream last week. Coverage check, coverage check, coverage check. The Giants have been much better in coverage. That goes to James Bradbury, Darnay Holmes, guys like that.
Bradbury had a great game.
That's leading to more opportunities to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw the one time we did bring the all-out blitz against Pittsburgh, and Smith-Schuster burned us. So, like I said, I get when you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, you are going to be tempted to blitz because you want to get pressure. But if you blitz and don't get there, you're leaving a lot of one-on-one coverage. And these wide receivers in the NFL, I mean, they're pretty much going to win one-on-one battles almost all the time. So it's obviously very encouraging when you can get to the quarterback without blitzing because it doesn't leave your secondary as vulnerable as it does when you're playing man-to-man coverage. So, I mean, we've been encouraged about the defense. That second half against the Bears, outside of that one drive, their defense pretty much dominated. I mean, Trubisky didn't do anything. He threw for like 28 yards, then 2 interceptions at one point in the fourth quarter, allowed us to get back in the game, encouraging Daniel Jones with a 95-yard touchdown. I mean, the Giants have things to build on. And, again, if this offense just figures it out and the defense plays halfway decent, we could actually be decent. I mean, we have a tough schedule, which stinks, but this division's so weak, and we play 6 games within our division. Got a chance, and that's all you can ask for. We just got to find a way to win a damn game so you know what it's like to win and get some confidence. We got to figure that out somehow.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we got to get the monkey off the back 100%. Andrew Thomas, man, thank you for the love. He says, thoughts on Fisk video trading for Adam Thielen? Should we go and try to get him? Andrew Thomas, I made a video not talking specifically about Thielen. For one, I don't know where those rumors came from. I haven't read them. I know a bunch of people have been talking about it all over Twitter about Adam Thielen. I mean, maybe the Vikings looked to trade him. I think Thielen said he wasn't happy there. But here's the thing. I don't want Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen to me is a guy who's 31, 32 years old. He's a slot receiver. I am open to the possibility of the New York Giants potentially trading for a wide receiver this year. I'm going to tell you why. This is my thought process. Even if the Giants are out of it, to put your Dave Gettleman hat on. If you're Dave Gettleman, you know your job's on the line. You know that your legacy is on the line with the New York Giants. Even if you are to get fired, you want to do everything you can to make sure that Daniel Jones remains as the quarterback for the New York Giants and prospers. Your whole legacy with the New York Giants is banking on that. So that is why I could see Dave Gettleman, if he could find a wide receiver out there selling ownership on that, being like, listen, I could get a guy that's under 3 years worth of control, and we could see if Daniel Jones is the guy because he needs another weapon out there. Because if you look at the Giants receivers right now, and I think the original approach is going to be call up the guys from the practice squad, give Victor a chance, give CJ Board a chance, give these guys a chance. But if that doesn't work, I could then see the Giants going out there and try to bring in another wide receiver.
See, that's the thing. I know. I have a hard time believing.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can see it.
I have a hard time believing that for the simple, number one, I don't want Thielen like you. There's no point in getting a veteran wide receiver on a team that's no good. I mean, we're not good. We're not a Super Bowl contender. Okay, maybe we do win this division and we beat the teams, but we're not beating Seattle. We're not beating Green Bay. We're not beating New Orleans, although the Raiders beat New Orleans, I think. It's been a weird year, okay? But we're not ready to win a Super Bowl. Those are pieces you go out, like Dallas was on the precipice of trying to get better. They went out and got Amari Cooper. It certainly propelled them to win the division. I think they might even won a playoff game that year. And then they lost to the Rams, I think, that year. But they were already good. They needed that. Remember this. He traded Odell Beckham away, okay? If he really wanted a wide receiver, that guy would still be here. I know he cost a fortune, but he would still be here. It would be costing us money, not draft picks. Why are you going to give up draft picks for a wide receiver? Like, to me, that just wouldn't make any sense to bring in a luxury position here when we certainly can't afford to be filling luxury positions. We have other positions that have so much bigger need, and we certainly can't give away draft capital because we need to build through the draft.
Yeah.
So I can't see at any point them finding a good receiver to come in here. I just don't. To me, that wouldn't make much sense because, again, you're not just going to go, well, we'll give you Sterling Shepard and we'll bring back DK Metcalf. Like, that's not how.
Oh, you're not getting DK Metcalf.
No, I'm just saying as an example. You're not going to trade a Sterling Shepard and get a top flight wide receiver. If you could trade a Sterling Shepard to get a Marquise Brown, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Of course.
That's not going to happen. So
yeah,
you're going to have to give up something to get something. I just can't see.
The only way I could see it is if, and then I'm going to get to Roldy. The only way I could see it is if you brought in a guy that was on a bad contract, that a team wanted to get rid of that contract. He was still a productive player, a good wide receiver, similar to an Odell Beckham with the Giants. Maybe not a guy that you view as a guy that you don't want on your football team because that's what the Giants view, but maybe a team like the Vikings with Adam Thielen, for example, being that they're 0-2, they're off to a slow start. Maybe they're trying to get rid of his contract and you don't got to give up a lot of draft capital. But I'm with you. I don't want to do that. I don't want – if anything, I want to acquire draft picks. But then you have to ask yourself, because we've been all talking about trading Evan Ingram, he doesn't have any weapons as is. If you want to fairly evaluate Daniel Jones, are you going to then go out and trade away Evan Ingram, who's his best weapon? He's without Barkley now. He's without Shepard. Can you really evaluate this quarterback if you start getting rid of all of his weapons at the deadline?
It's hard. I mean, listen, maybe Odell Beckham comes back here. Cleveland will give you a 4th-round pick and bring Odell Beckham.
Roldy, man. Roldy, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. He says, what up, fellas? Like I told you, Chris, not having Barkley may be a good thing. Well, Roldy, we haven't even seen the team yet without Barkley, but I'm open to giving it a chance and seeing if the committee approach could get it done. I still think Barkley's obviously an improvement over what we have, but sometimes it could work. We saw it with the 2007 Giants. So it all comes down to the offensive line. Like so many people have said, it doesn't matter who your running back is. If this offensive line improves, we're going to see an improvement in the running game. We're just not going to see those explosive plays that Barkley could produce that these guys just aren't capable of doing. But if they can block, there's no reason a guy like Devontae Freeman can't average 4.5 yards a carry if this offensive line improves.
And I mean, the 75-yard touchdown run's a sexy play. It's exciting, everything else. But you can give me the guy that grinds out 5 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry, gets us down to 3rd and 2, can convert on 3rd and 2. I'll take those guys all day that wear down the opposing defense and may not be that home run hitter. For example, I mean, Zeke Elliott to me is that guy.
Brandon Jacobs.
Not going to run for an 80-yard touchdown. He's not going to be elusive in the open field. He might hurdle a guy, but he's not going to take off and get you an 80-yard touchdown. That's not his game. But what Zeke does more effective than anybody else, 4th and 1, 3rd and a long one, 3rd and 2, he just plows forward and gets the yardage he needs, continues to wear on the opposition's defense, and by the 4th quarter, Dallas has him beaten. I mean, Dallas's offense is not the problem this year. Their defense stinks. I mean, that's a problem. Even against the Rams, Zeke had a good game. I don't know what he did against.
No, he had 2 good games. He was right around 100 yards in both games.
So I didn't see what he did exactly against Atlanta, but they were also behind by a lot in that game. So how much did they actually give the ball to Zeke? But I'll take a guy, and I hate Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I can't stand the guy, but he's damn good. And credit where it's due. You give me those guys like your Brandon Jacobs, those guys that just wear on you. And those 2 and 3 yard runs in the fourth quarter become 6 and 7 yard runs because that defense is tired.
We've seen it happen to us the last 2 weeks.
Right, exactly.
On defense. Synagogue of Steak, man, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. Rodney Hampton was more talented than OJ in 1990.
Who was?
Rodney Hampton more talented than OJ in 1990.
Oh God, yeah, Rodney.
Yeah, that was the tail end of OJ's career, right? So,
yeah, that was at the end of his career. The only reason that OJ was in there is because Hampton broke his leg against the Bears in that the divisional round. So otherwise, OJ Anderson says it right in the 1990 America's game. He said, "First round draft pick Rodney Hampton." I know what that means. So he knew. I mean, that was Otis Anderson's 12th year in the league. Of course, won Super Bowl MVP, and he had a huge year. But yeah, Hampton was very talented. I loved Rodney Hampton. He's one of my favorite Giants of all time.
Rodney Hampton was great. I remember watching him as a kid. Charlie Way, Rodney Hampton. I love 27. Zach, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. They said the same thing in 07 on the playoff run. I don't know what you're referring to. Are you talking about this team right now? All right. Here's the thing, and I know Giants fans want hope, and I want to have hope with you guys. I want to tell you guys we could go on this miraculous run. Fact of the matter is this. Yes, the 07 team started 0-2, just like this team, if that's what you're comparing it to. The 07 team had a quarterback that was already in the year for 3 years. He had already had playoff experience. He had an offensive line. You're talking about 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. He had Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, Osu Minor. We don't have players that come close to that on defense. He had a great middle linebacker with Antonio Pierce. The level of talent on the teams are night and day. Not to mention, you had a Hall of Fame head coach. We don't know what we got yet with Joe Judge, with Tom Coughlin.
Exactly. I was just gonna say we had a Hall of Fame head coach. You had an experienced head coach, and yeah, when Eli, listen, we were banned in 2003 and allowed us to draft Eli. Eli took over in 2004. We were 5-3, so we were already good. Then they brought in Burris. They were 11-5 in 2005. They were only 8-8 in 2006, when they made the playoffs, lost on the last second field goal to the Eagles. What else is new? We always find a way to lose to the Eagles. And then, of course, yeah, they made that run in 2007, but they weren't really a great team throughout the year. They just got the defense really clicked at the end of the year, and Eli did not turn the ball over in the playoffs. He turned it over. He threw 20 interceptions. He led the league in interceptions in 2007. But like Chris mentioned, the offensive line was great. That allowed Brandon Jacobs to have a big year. Ahmad Bradshaw had that huge, 83-yard touchdown run against Buffalo, 88-yard touchdown run against Buffalo. So it was a different team. That team was already set up for success, which is why they were getting on Eli and Coughlin, because that was a good team. They're like, how come they can't win? That's why when people are like, oh, well, if we did this with Eli, we would have never won the Super Bowl. But they were in the playoffs. Like Daniel Jones, and not to mention Eli Manning was the first overall pick in the draft, and he was supposed to succeed huge. Like he was supposed to go early. Daniel Jones was not.
You just hit the nail on the head, man. The situations for Eli and Daniel Jones couldn't be more opposite. Like you just said, the Giants, I remember watching the Giants then, and the Giants fans were outraged that they put Eli in. They were a team that was potentially headed to the playoffs.
Yep.
They were 5-3 with Kurt Warner at the quarterback. They had a good team when Eli came in. We didn't have that with Daniel Jones, which is why I'm saying, personally, pump the brakes on the Daniel Jones talk. Let's get this guy a team around him and see what he could do, what Eli Manning did. Because if you're being honest, if Eli Manning was on this team, could you imagine how he would have played his first 2 years in the league with the surrounding cast that Daniel Jones has had, knowing how much Eli struggled early on in his career?
Now, the game was different back then. But it would have been rough. Eli struggled. Eli was very, very inaccurate. And Daniel Jones is accurate. Daniel Jones is just making mistakes. Eli made these same mistakes. Eli made these same mistakes at the end of his career. It used to drive me crazy. I'm like, Eli, you've been in the league 15 years. How do you not see that underneath?
The left-handed interception?
Well, yeah, what are you looking at? So, like I said, I'm not ready to give up on Daniel Jones. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there talking about it. I get it. I'm frustrated about it too. I'm sick of losing. But, one thing I'll say about Daniel Jones, and somebody asked me about this, I like your those super chats, is, they ask you what I think about Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones, I've said before, I think in his top of his career could be like a top 8 quarterback. But to me, Daniel Jones is like Dak Prescott, okay? Daniel Jones is going to need a team around him. If Dak Prescott was on the Giants, he'd be terrible. I don't care what anybody says. He's not Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Drew Brees. He's not those guys. He's not going to carry a team with less than great talent like Russell Wilson's done for years in Seattle. It's not going to happen. He needs those pieces. If he had Dallas's team around him, Daniel Jones would be having a huge year. Daniel Jones would be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. There's not a doubt on my mind. But, again, the situation. Brand new coaching staff. The whole COVID thing. No limited training camp, no mini camp, no OTAs, no preseason games. And they're just kind of throwing him out there to the Wolves with an inexperienced offensive line. A guy playing in a new position, a rookie left tackle, a backup right tackle. And
to me, you're hitting it right on the head, though. Because to me, I don't care who you put in there. Yeah, maybe if you find one of those top 3 or 4 quarterbacks, but there's no guarantee. I don't care. Everybody talks about Trevor. You don't know. Nobody knows until such time they get in the league. I would much rather, because I see the potential in Daniel Jones. I'm not saying he's Pat Mahomes. I've never said that. I want to fix the pieces around him and have something similar to Dallas, because I know he can get the job done. Give him the wide receivers, fix the offensive line, and it's going to take another year. It's going to take another year for this offensive line to mature. That's just my point of view on the whole topic.
I agree with you, because when I did a video before the year started saying the Giants are trying to build like Dallas did.
Yeah.
That's really what I think they do. They got their – well, now Barkley's out, but they got the running back, they had the quarterback, and they got a Darius Slayton, and then they went after the offensive line. I mean, that's what Dallas had. They had Emmett, they had a great offensive line, they had Aikman, and they had Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get there.
Yeah, it's going to take time. I mean, you got 3 new offensive linemen this year. They got to learn to play together. Al, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. So when do we spread the offense out, Baddog? No receivers equals 54 yards rushing. I guess he's asking you that, Al.
Where are we? Oh,
Al. He said, so when do we spread the offense out, Baddog? No receivers equals 54 yards rushing. Oh, I think that's in response to us talking about potentially trading for a wide receiver. He's saying because we don't have another talented wide receiver, it's limiting the offense because we can't spread it out. That's what I think he's saying.
You could spread it out. You could spread Evan Ingram out wide. It'd be better to get him out of there. I mean, you could definitely line him up in the slot. He can't block anyway, so you can line him up in the slot. Now, Sterling Shepard's been there. It's not like he has been. He's not there this week. But
you have 3 weeks. At least 3 weeks he's out.
No, I'm saying, but he had been there. So you had Shepard. You had Tate there against the Bears. You had Darius Slayton. All the receivers were there, weren't they?
Yeah. For a bit. Shepard went out before the half, but for a bit, yeah.
Right. But they were all there. And, CJ Board. I mean, I don't know. The Giants don't play a lot of 4 wides. They're not going to spread it out. They don't go 5 wide like they used to. But I don't know any team that has 5 great wide receivers. I mean, Dallas has 3. They have 2 great ones and a really good one in Gallup, but I don't know who their other receivers are. I don't know a team that has 4 great receivers.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think we need an upgrade at the wide receiver position. Personally, maybe it won't happen this year. Maybe it'll happen next year in the draft. But I do think we definitely need an upgrade there, especially with Tate being 32. But
he's gone this year.
Yeah, he's gone. But like we keep saying, until the offensive line improves, it's not going to matter that much. It might help a little bit if you get a great receiver. It will help if you get a great receiver. It will create a little bit more separation. But we still need – and I do think the offensive line is going to get better over the second half of the year. But that is the biggest key. Once that starts clicking, even becomes league average, everything's going to improve.
I agree.
And that's what it boils down to.
I don't know, real quick. I don't know who's the free agent wide receivers next year. Remember, we have a ton of cap space. So if the Giants want to go out and sign one, it'd be easier to do that to get a guy coming off his rookie contract and not give up picks.
Yeah, there's a couple. Sammy Watkins is available from the Chiefs. You've got Juju Smith-Schuster. You've got the guy from the Cord Coleman. No. There's another notable. I can't remember. There's a couple of guys, but then also they could draft one. They could draft one.
Right. There's a perfect guy though, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah. Roldy, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man. He says exactly, Baddog. Preach. Trading picks are for teams who are 1 or 2 players away of winning. We aren't a wide receiver way of winning. Can't afford to give up draft picks. We can still evaluate Jones. Please don't make that as an excuse, Chris. I'm not making anything as an excuse. I'm thinking, I wasn't even thinking I agree with that, though. I don't want to trade away picks. I was thinking from the mind of Dave Gettleman. I'm putting my Gettleman hat on, and Gettleman, his job rests on Daniel Jones. His legacy rests on Daniel Jones. And if he's scared that ownership is going to want to go out and replace the quarterback and he feels they need a wide receiver, I could see it happening. I'm saying it's a possibility, not something that I'm calling for. I don't want it to happen. But we'll see, man. We'll see, Roldy, man. But thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. Andrew, I appreciate it. He says, could Holmes be a cornerback 2 later in the season? And if so, should we go corner or linebacker or edge in the first round if we have a bad season? I'll tell you what, Baddog. You look at the corners we've had on the other side. Yadam's been horrible. Ballantyne's been horrible. That's been a major problem. We knew that was going to be a problem. These were guys that were supposed to be 4th and 5th corners going into the year. Yeah. Yadam was a desperation trade because we could get him for cheap. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Darnay Holmes out on the outside. He's done decent in the slot. I wouldn't mind seeing him get an opportunity on the outside to see what the guy's got at this point. He can't be much worse than those two.
Yeah, I mean, you probably will see him at some point. I mean, other guys are going to get hurt. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they did get Logan Ryan, so obviously you can move him to the slot if you wanted to do that, or you move Holmes outside. But, again, we're going to get McKinney back at some point this year, which, that obviously opens up more what's the word I'm looking for there? Variety.
Versatility.
Yeah. So, that's something that we missed. I mean, we didn't expect McKinney to break his foot. We didn't expect Deandre Baker to have the soap opera thing he had. Sam Beal, who gives a damn? I mean, that guy probably never playing the NFL again anyway. So, it was just a lot of bad breaks as far as our secondary goes. We knew it was inexperienced, but we thought we had a lot of depth, and obviously that depth got thinned out. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it depends on what the record is. It depends on where we're going. If we're in competition, if we're competing here, maybe leave it alone. If we're 3-8, what do you got to lose?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's the same thing with Matt Parrott. And then as far as your second part of the question or comment, corner, linebacker, or edge. I mean, I think if we're going defense, that's what we're looking at. If we're looking at offense, we're going wide receiver.
Yeah, edge.
I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at next year's draft, at least as of now. Cruz out, man. Thanks, or potentially a quarterback. I'll leave it up as a possibility if we pick first, which I don't think we will. Cruz out says, I want to be like Baddog when I grow up. I saw Instagram that you're 5.6% body fat. By the way, a running back that falls forward when he's hit is underrated. I agree with that. And I want to have 5.6% body fat as well.
He saw that picture. Yeah, I actually had a guy at the gym. He's an older guy. He can't get over my transformation. He's just like, he goes, what the hell did you do? I said, I ran every day. He's like, I run. I go, yeah, but my diet was as clean as it could be. And he's like, I can't get over it, man. He's like, he's like, you used to have that little spare tire there underneath. He's like, that's completely gone. You're so thin. You're like jacked up. I'm like, that's what happens when you work hard. I don't know. I'm like, I got a 3-year-old, man. I don't have any choice. And I'm crazy. I mean, you guys don't. I can burn some of this energy off. I don't know what else to do.
He's definitely crazy. Jarvis Juice, I agree with you about the wide receiver, but I do think it's a possibility. I saw you said never draft a wide receiver in the first round. I'm open to drafting a wide receiver, just not in the first 5 or 6 picks. I would draft one mid-first round, but depending on how talented the wide receiver is. But I tend to agree with you. I'm not a fan of drafting wide receivers early.
We took Becker in the first round. He was pretty good.
He was very good.
I'm telling you, and I told everybody that guy is going to be a star. I told Eagle fans, Jets fans, 12 receivers suck. You don't want to listen. Well, they're hurt. Yeah, because they don't get tackled in the Big 12. Watch a Big 12 football game, guys. If you don't watch Oklahoma or Texas Tech or Texas, watch the receivers just run free down the middle of the field like nobody's there. It's like they have rules where the defenders have to play outside the hash marks and everybody else just runs free down the middle. They don't get tackled. They don't get hit in the Big 12. When they actually get hit, they get hurt.
It's like flag football.
And Ray has 4 catches. And he had 1 catch for 55 yards the first game. They're like, oh, he's great.
Same thing with Ruggs. Ruggs did the same thing first week. He had 1 catch.
He ran a bad route, which caused interception, and he missed the block, and then he ran another bad route. Rager he stinks. Mims stinks. Big 12 receivers stink, unless you're a guy like CeeDee Lamb. Corey Coleman stinks. Josh Doxson stinks. Ryan Broyles stunk. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on of Big 12 receivers that were great in the Big 12 and no good in the NFL. It is.
Bad Dog speaking facts. Al Bats, man, thanks so much. He says, Bad Dog, love you, man, but name 5 receivers. I think he means on the New York Giants football team.
Well, I mean, Shepard's still there, right? Tate.
Technically. Well, let's take Shepard out of it because right now he's out of the equation.
Then I don't know. I don't
know. I'll tell you the receivers we've got right now. We've got Darius Slayton's the 1. We've got Golden Tate at the 2. CJ Board is our 3. You've got Damian Ratley's the 4. And then the 5 is a practice squad guy, whoever they call up, whether it be Benjamin Victor, whoever. We are not good at that position. We're just not right now. But we were thin to begin with. We knew that going into the year.
Yeah.
And
bring up Benjamin Victor, and bring up Austin. Well, Derek Dillon's on the practice squad, and bring Austin Mack. Bring them all. While you're at it, get Javon Lee back in his damn practice squad. Coleman ain't gonna play.
And Anthony, man, thank you so much. He says, great show as always, guys. Gettleman has to remain as the GM for 2 to 3 more years. Record aside, Jones and Judge won't be a new GM's guy. Can't start over. Anthony, I tend to agree with you. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a stability guy. But I also like to be realistic. I know this is the New York market. I know that the fans are going to look for a fall guy. They're not going to be happy if we win 3 or 4 games. And maybe I'll be proven wrong at the end of the year. But I think there's going to be a change. I do. If we don't win at least 6 games, I think there's going to be a change. And I think they're going to move on from Gettleman. It's not necessarily something that I'm saying I'm rooting for. I want stability. I think we had a good offseason. Yes, Gettleman's done some silly things, no doubt about it. But I would be surprised if he's back if we win 4 games. I'd be very surprised.
I listen, you know what? I'm not even blaming Gettleman at this point. I know he's made some errors. The Deandre Baker thing was unfortunate. I was a big fan of Deandre Baker coming out of Georgia. I loved that pick. Obviously didn't know that this was going to happen. And I didn't know that he was going to fall asleep at meetings and just be a terrible, person. I didn't see that coming. I just looked at his talent. I don't know how these guys are personally. I don't interview them. I don't talk to them. I don't know them. I just watched their film or watched them play, and I'm like, man, I really like this DeAndre Baker kid. He's a lockdown corner. I loved that pick. Didn't work out. Will Hernandez, I love that pick. Hasn't worked out. He stinks. It's still like shit. Well, that was Jerry Reese, but still, I liked when he traded for Alec Ogletree. That didn't work out either. But he's done some good things too. Well, actually, yeah, look like anything's done because Barkley, that's not worked. Daniel Jones, he's not.
Well, Daniel Jones is still wait and see for me, but he's done some good things. I mean, Dexter Lawrence looks good. Darius Slayton looks good. The free agents right now, James Bradbury and Martinez look good.
Right. The thing is this: it's the gentleman's fault. It's the owner's fault. Okay, ownership screwed this up. Ownership screwed this up because they kept Reese 2 years too long, and that's as simple as that.
Well, that's why we got put in the situation we did.
Yeah, when Coughlin left, Reese should have went. That's what should have happened. New Deal should have been in right there. Or you keep Coughlin, especially when you spent $200 million on defense. You should have kept Coughlin at that point.
Yeah.
The defense was the problem that year. And I will say this until the day I die. Eli Manning was never the same after Coughlin left. That was the end of it. Eli did not have the heart. Eli did not have the fire, the determination, the passion. He had none of that anymore. That was when he started diving into the ground when he would see a sack coming. He didn't want to fight for Ben McAdoo, okay? He didn't want to fight.
Yeah, and he was also shell-shocked from Eric Flowers.
Right, well, that's a big part of it. Yeah. You're like, oh, he's dodging the ground. I'm like, why don't you stand there and get hit by a 350-pound full board? Let's see how many times you get up. Eli gets all the time, but I'm telling you, Eli wanted to run through a wall for Coughlin. He might not have said that, but he was tough. He sat there. He took the hits.
You saw him balling. You saw him balling when Coughlin retired.
Coughlin. He didn't do that for those other coaches. All right, so for me, that was the end of Eli. It wasn't of course, the offensive line got worse. Eli was getting older. I'm telling you right now, if Coughlin was the head coach, Eli would have his career would have been better longer. If that makes sense.
I mean, it does. I think it makes a lot of sense. Chisolo, man, thank you so much. He says, yeah, we need to improve the O-line, get an alpha receiver, and the defense got to get upgraded slowly. All in time, we will get better and better. Listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, Chisolo. The defense so far, and it's only 2 weeks, limited sample size, but for all the negative people out there, and you have every right to be negative, this team has been horrible over the last 4 or 5 years. But the defense is leaps and bounds better. The defense is much better, and it's only 2 games. I want to reiterate that. But it is much better than I thought it would be at this point in the season. We're 4th in yards against.
What's that?
We're 4th in yards against in football.
I thought it'd be the opposite. I thought the offense would be light years ahead of the defense. It's completely the opposite. I mean, we've only given up 43 points in 2 games, which I think is the least amount in this division. I could be wrong. I don't know what Washington's given up, but it's close. And we didn't do anything in Chicago in the second half of that game. Yeah,
I mean, I know we're 11th overall in points against, and we're 4th overall in yards against. And
I meant the division.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just night and day with this defense so far. That is encouraging. Now, I thought personally the offense was going to start out slow. I was hoping a little bit better than this, but with the new scheme and everything else, and the defenses we were going up against, I expected to start out slow. But I also thought the defense was going to start out slow.
Yeah.
So I've been encouraged with the defense. I have. Let's see what we got here. Al, man, thank you so much again. He says, with no receivers, opponents put 8 in the box. The D is ranked 8th in run offense, 32nd, because we have no way to spread out the offense. Dog, you're being silly, Albat says about the wide receiver.
I don't know how I don't know how you're spreading anything out. I don't know what you want to spread out. I don't understand. They don't play a spread offense.
Well, here
and honestly, to me, that doesn't help your run. If you want to run the ball, you don't use wide receivers. If you want to run the ball, you line up 2 tights with a wide receiver and go full pack. You use a lead blocker. Like I scream about that all the time. Don't bring in 3 wide receivers and run the ball out of the shot. So they do they are spreading it out, and they're not running effectively because that's not helping. They don't block. We need to bring in Toyola. We need to bring in Tomlinson. We need those guys. Why did they bring them in here? And use your fullback. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
Well, what I think he means is when you have, I think he means a serious number 1 wide receiver like Odell Beckham 3 years ago, makes it so the defense can't stack the box because you have to honor that number 1 threat. So that's why his thought process is if we were to bring in a guy of that caliber, which is not going to be easy to find, it would make the run game more effective because defenses wouldn't be able to put 8 in the box because they'd have to honor the threat on the outside.
Well, how good was our running game in 2014? Rashad Jennings didn't do much.
The offensive line sucked. The offensive line sucked.
Beckham. I mean, we had the best receiver in football in 2014-15, and the Giants still weren't a great running team.
Yeah.
That's why Eli Manning threw 35 touchdowns that year. So it helps, but at the end of the day, to me, Al, I guess this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the offensive line is what helps you run, not the wide receivers. I guess that's my biggest point. And because we need more draft capital, I don't want to trade away pieces for wide receivers. I guess that's my point. I just don't think wide receivers are the reason we're not running. I believe it's because our offensive line does not run block well. I think that's the biggest reason we can't run the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's both, but I think it's more the offensive line. Chizola, man, thank you so much. He says, Marant is still making us worse and worse.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree. I have not been a fan of ownership over the last since 2015. I'm not been a fan of ownership.
Wellington Mara's rolling over in his grave right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. But if you look at it positively, they're much better than the other owners in New York. I mean, in terms of not that that's a positive. They're the worst in all sports, but
worse than James Dolan.
James Dolan, but they finally sold, so
they're gone.
Yeah. Pete, man, thank you so much, man. He says, I'm worried about the scenario where Jones develops. Even PFF really liked him right now, which is shocking because PFF hated him last year, and I did see that. But because of injuries and whatnot, we still get the number 1 pick. How do you pass on a prospect like Lawrence? Pete, that's a good. I don't think we're getting the number 1 pick. I honestly, my heart, don't think we're getting the number 1 pick. I really don't. I honestly think you're going to see a much better football team over the last 10 games. I think we're going to win a few games that you don't expect us to win. I still say at least 4, 5, 6 wins this year. That's just my opinion. I think they're going to get much better as the year progresses. But I saw that article. They ranked him the 10th best quarterback so far in all of football. They said his turnover. I forgot what the terminology is that they use, but his turnover plays, like plays where he should have committed a turnover, are almost cut by 200%. He was 5.5% last year. Now he's 2%. They said he's getting much smarter with the football. And I tend to agree with that. I think he's run into some really tough matchups and he's learning a new offense. But overall, and I know you can't take out the turnovers, I have seen some progression with Daniel Jones. So I tend to agree with that by PFF.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think he's more confident in the pocket. I think he's a confident quarterback. But again, he's
got to fix the turnovers. I'm not going to defend that.
He's got to stop forcing throw. That's what he does. It's not to me because he's misreading coverage or because he's inaccurate. He's just trying to force things that aren't there sometimes, and he's got to stop. He's got to learn, throw the ball away or take the sack, and just live to fight another day. Don't turn it over. Like that's why I still feel like Daniel Jones knows the offense is struggling, and he's
trying to make up for it.
I have to make this happen.
He's trying to make up for it. So,
right. So he's just trying to do a little bit too much because they're in a rut. And I saw Phil Simms doing it at 86. So I completely understand. Yeah, I'm old. I saw Phil Simms doing this crap.
Molly Mo, man, thank you so much. He says, one thing for sure, Giants have the best secondary in the division. That's not saying much because the secondaries in this division are horrible, but you're absolutely right. So far, the way that they've played, James Bradbury has been ridiculous. The Cowboys have all the injuries in their secondary. It wasn't a good secondary to begin with. The Eagles, I mean, they haven't been playing that well, and the Skins have a great pass rush, but not the football team, I should say, but not much of a secondary. So I agree with that, and it's only going to get better when we get McKinney back. And Peppers hasn't even been playing well. The secondary could get a lot better than it already is so far this year. Giselle, man, thank you so much. But overall, I believe we have a bright future. I agree with you. I like Judge. Here's another thing I want to talk about. The penalties. We talked about it last week.
Yep.
The New York Giants continue to be the least penalized team in football in terms of yardage. Only 45 yards against, 5 of which were intentional. That speaks volumes to Joe Judge. To me, they're disciplined. They haven't committed any pass interference penalties on the year. No
pass interference.
Yeah, defensive pass interference. There's defensive holding, roughing the passer. I think they've only had one, when I went back and looked at it, defensive penalty, and that was an offsides. Outside of that, they've only had one defensive penalty all year. So the tennis balls have been working. Joe Judge has been doing a good job in that aspect.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, those are, again, that's yardage that, doesn't count against an offense or whatever, but that penalty yardage is always hidden yardage. And certainly, if you have a 3rd and 21 and you get a roughing the passer, it extends a drive or an illegal contact or any of that stuff. So penalties obviously play a major part in this. And like I said, in my preview video, if the Giants don't turn this ball over, they're winning. I mean, they win the turnover battle, they're going to win. I really do. I think that the reason we've lost is because of turnovers. And as long as we can cut those out, got a good chance. And I think that we can get to Nick Mullins. I think Mullins can turn it over, just like I said, Trubisky. Trubisky turned it over twice in the second half, which allowed us to come back in that game. I wish we could have won that damn
game. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I meant to shout this out. If somebody could post Baddog's link in there, I try to shout out a few times a stream. We do this show. Anybody that may be new to my channel, we do this show every week. Next week it's going to be on his. We're doing the Giant stream here. We're going to be doing both over there next week. We alternate every week. Going over there, check them out. Somebody could post a link. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yuri, man, he says Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons when Freeman was the running back. This is true. So there's a little bit of familiarity there. I guess I don't know how much that plays into the game. But the one thing I want to talk about with Shanahan, I don't care that Kittle's out. They still got Jordan Reed, who when he's healthy, which he probably won't be by 5 minutes into the game, knowing his history, he's still a talented tight end. And we know we have a mismatch with the tight ends. Shanahan is a brilliant offensive mind. You could say a lot of things about him in the way that he's choked away leads, but he is in terms of the offensive coordinator with the Falcons, but he is a brilliant offensive mind. The pre-snap motion is something we have to worry about. I don't care that McKinnon's back there. They used pre-snap motion on 79% of their plays last year. It was far and away the most of any team in football, and they use that to try to create mismatch opportunities with the defense. So expect to see that a lot this week.
They're going to have to because, again, they're really beat up. Like I said, the guy that worries me is Deebo Samuel. I mean, that was a great pick for them. He had a big rookie season. He's a big-time mismatch. I mean, he's, fast, strong, big guy. It's going to be that's going to be a tough matchup. But Nick Mullins ain't.
No, I agree with you.
The game ain't scaring you. Got
to stop the run. This game is simple. Do whatever you can to stop that run and make Mullins beat you.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's it. You got to make Mullins beat you. And we played him before. We played him. Bless you. We played him 2 years ago. We did a good job. Danny, I appreciate it. He says, need to sign Demaryius Thomas and Darius Geis to the squad. Didn't Darius Geis get hurt? Or did they – I don't even know. Did they just cut him or did he get hurt?
Cut him. He had a legal problem, too. He was some battery or sexual assault.
Yeah, we're not bringing him on. Thomas is a possibility. I talked about him, but to me, Thomas isn't an impact receiver at this point. He's a depth receiver. I wouldn't be against it. He's tall. He caught for over 400 yards last year with the Jets, but he's not a guy that's going to come in here and is going to, make us get excited. Let's put it that way. He's a guy that could come in maybe as a 4th or 5th receiver, but he's not a high impact player at this point.
Who's that?
Demaryius Thomas.
Oh God, that'd be like bringing Brandon Marshall in here. Marshall in here and Demaryius Thomas ain't. Like I said, to me, I just don't. There's not a receiver out there I think it's going to make a difference. So
not on the free agency wire. I agree with you on that.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know what the answer is. It's a shame. Sterling Shepard, I don't even think I mentioned Sterling Shepard. There's another Big 12 guy can't stay healthy, and I loved him. I mean, that was my guy at Oklahoma. I was so excited when we took him. I'm like, man, he is so good. I mean, I compared him to Victor Cruz. That's how he played in college. He got to the NFL. He had a pretty good rookie season. I think he had 8 touchdowns that year, killed the Eagles, and then all the injuries.
Yeah, he certainly had them, and he's had concussion problems dating all the way back to high school. Not that he has a concussion this year, but he's had a major problem with that in the NFL. Chizola, man, thank you so much. He says James L. Dolan only takes L's so bad. I don't even want to. I get depressed thinking about James Dolan. He is the worst owner probably in all sports. He's that bad.
He's up there.
Yeah, I don't watch the Rangers. Maybe he's not as bad with the Rangers, but with the Knicks, he's horrible. Gary, man, thank you so much, man. He says, I guessed run past 12 plays in a row to start the Bears game. I'm already sick of Jason Garrett's predictability. I'm gonna be fair, Gary. So far, Garrett's been very vanilla. But I'm also gonna say this, and I'm not telling you, maybe it won't improve, and we'll all be very frustrated. But I don't think they're unleashing the full playbook yet, because we got to remember here, they didn't have a preseason. You got to remember they have 3 new offensive linemen. A lot of what we expect, at least, Garrett's offense to call for is deep throws down the field. If you can't sustain blocks for more than 3 or 4 seconds, you're not going to give your quarterback enough time to launch the ball down the field. So I still want to give this at least 3, 4, 5 more weeks before I really, truly evaluate the play calling by Garrett, because right now, I feel like his hands are tied right now. Yeah,
and the other thing is, like you said, we didn't have any preseason games, so they're not used to Garrett's offense. And I mean, again, like Chris said, maybe this will happen all year. Maybe he's going to be predictable. Maybe we're going to be frustrated with him. But I can't get on him after 2 games because, like Chris said, we can't block anybody and we can't run.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because we're predictable. I think it's because we can't block anybody. I think that's the biggest problem with Saquon.
Well, it makes us predictable, but it's not the play caller's fault necessarily, because we can't block.
You got to block. I mean, every time we got the ball against Pittsburgh, there was 3 guys in the backfield. You can't blame Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
So
I do agree it's been predictable. I think that's fair to say, Gary, but I think that there's a legitimate reason, at least so far, as to why. Before I could get on him, I don't know why it says the message retracted, Clear Vision. I'm going to look back on this chat to see if I could find it. But I got. Oh wait, no, that's what'd you say, Beto?
He must retract it. It wasn't hidden by anybody. I think he just took the message away himself.
Yeah, so, sometimes on here it'll show it. I want to just make sure it doesn't. Oh no, here it was just a $5 donation. I think I saw that earlier. Clear Vision, man, thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate that. And Urbieto Rivera, he says, I would like to see better route combos on offense, too many curls and short routes other than streaks to Slayton. I agree, and I'm not trying to sound too repetitive. I agree. I want to see us take more shots down the field. I want to see more post patterns, but we got to be able to block. And we also got to factor in, we went up against the Steelers, the Bears. I think the Giants factored that in. 2 defenses they know are going to bring the heat a lot. They're going to blitz a lot. They're not going to give the quarterback a lot of time to throw the football. This game, with the injuries that the 49ers have, Baddog, this is the game I expect more shots down the field. I expect them to unleash this offense a little bit more this week.
I would have liked to have seen more screen passes. I don't know why that's not happening. To me, that nullifies an aggressive defense. It gets back in their heels because they come up field and you set up a screen. I mean, that's going to go a long way.
It worked great first week with Barkley on that one play.
I don't know.
The other thing I wanted to say I noticed this week, and they did it a few times, and it actually was working a little bit. I didn't see him do it a lot after the fact. They used Caden Smith in the fullback role or the H-back role as a lead blocker for the running back. It actually sprung a couple of runs to the outside. I'd like to see them maybe do that a little bit more this week as well.
Well, they could do that because Caden Smith obviously can catch the ball. So it would help because then your fullback can come out or the H-back can come out of the backfield on wheel routes and get matched up with a linebacker, and he should win that. And Caden Smith obviously is a good report, Daniel Jones. I like to actually see him back there because that is a guy that can also catch the ball, so it gives you another offensive weapon out there.
Yeah. And Manuel, man, thank you so much, man. He says, do you think Judge would ever take over the offensive calling? No 2 tight end sets and too predictable so far. It's early, but even I know the upcoming play. I do not, Manuel. I honestly don't. I think Joe Judge came on here to be a football coach. I think that he's going to let his guys do the play calling. Jason Garrett's been in the league for a very long time. He's had a lot of success. I completely get the frustration. The offense has been stagnant. But we got to give it a little more time before we jump on them due to everything. You got to give these guys a few weeks here. This is kind of like preseason, learning a new scheme. They've never done it together in a game itself. These are kind of like preseason games for these guys. Yeah. So I get it, but no, I don't think that'll be the case. I think they brought in Garrett here to call the plays, just like I think they brought in Graham here to call the plays.
Oh, Judge already said he's not calling those plays.
Yeah.
He came out like Mr. Press conference, like they're going to call their plays. Like Garrett's going to do what he does, and Graham's going to do what he does.
Yeah, 100, and they should. And the Meat Church, man, thank you so much. Cool. Kid Blue became could. I thought you said cool. Could Kid Blue become a jockey at Saratoga? Kid Blue.
Absolutely. I mean, I lived up there, so, I've seen all the jockeys. I've seen Jerry Bailey, Mike Smith, Julie Crone, Jose Velasquez, Edgar Prado. Yeah, I mean, they're about Kid Blue size.
Kid Blue. Maybe we'll throw a couple of dollars on Kid Blue. I know Pizzle's into horses. Maybe we'll get one of Pizzle's horses, and we'll put Kid Blue on the horse, and we'll win a ton of races.
I don't know. That's pretty tough. I wouldn't want to ride no damn horse.
And Ligman, man, thank you so much. He says Daniel Winston needs to stop turning the ball. Oh God, can we stop with the Daniel Winston nicknames? Come on, get behind your quarterback. Let's hope he does better this week, Ligman. I agree though. I want to see him go out there and not turn. He's got a lot of pressure. Well, not a lot of pressure, but he's starting to get pressure from the fan base. You're starting to see the mass media talk about it. And I laughed. I saw what's his name? Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd, I made a video on this 3 months ago, came out and said that Daniel Jones was so good his rookie year that he was even better than his stats indicated. 2 days ago, he comes out and says, just 2 weeks into the season with a new scheme, Giants need to tank and draft Trevor Lawrence. It's what the media does. It's what the media
does. An idiot. I mean,
they're trying to make people panic.
No, they want clicks. They want people. That's just what it is. But listen, I did a video on the Trevor Lawrence thing months ago. And the reason I said this is because of the Giants draft first overall, Gettleman's gone. There's not a doubt in my mind.
I agree with that.
And then if Gettleman's gone, if they don't hire Abrams, if they go outside.
No, listen, I am completely I think it's reasonable if we get the first pick to think that that's a possibility, 100%. What I don't like is people rooting for that to happen 2 weeks into the season.
I shouldn't be rooting for you. You should be rooting for us to win. We win.
Yeah, and for Daniel Jones to improve.
We win 8 games in 4 in this division. We're winning the division. This division sucks. I said before the season started, there's nobody in this division that's going to win more than 9 games.
Yeah.
And I believe that's true. I think 8 win this division. Honestly.
7 and 9 could at this rate.
Yeah. It's awful.
Roldy, man. Thank you so much, man. Sorry, I got the hiccups, man. You blew me away, man. Thank you so much. He says, what get me nervous with Jones is with the first interception with what he threw the ball when no one was open, didn't go through his read. There was an open wide receiver on his left. The fumble last week, the second wide receiver open and had time, didn't throw the ball. My point is his pocket awareness. The first interception, okay, maybe Baddog disagrees with me on this. The first interception he threw this year, in my opinion, and I get it's a pick and you can't turn the ball over that close to your end zone. Listen, the defense gets paid too. And Watt is one of the best defensive players in football. To me, that was a phenomenal play by Watt. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks expect TJ Watt to do what he did. It was great instincts. I thought he made a great football play. Was it a bad turnover? Yes. In that instance, though, I think I give more credit to the defense. The second interception, I put more on Jones. The fumble is all on Jones. That was a very bad fumble. I did not discount that at all. He had 3 or 4 seconds in the pocket. He held the ball to his side like a loaf of bread. He's got to cover up that ball. He's got to have a mental clock in his head, and hopefully he gets better at that as the season progresses. But, yeah, that continues to be a weakness. I can't defend him on that fumble. For sure. Yeah, that's my take on it.
First interception, I said that. It was a great play by Watt, but that was covered the entire way. Daniel Jones just went back there and blindly threw it to his first read. Did not go through progressions. That's why it ticked me off. Yeah, Watt made a great play on it. You can't do that. I mean, Watt's there. Yeah, another linebacker probably just knocks that down, doesn't make that play. But still, you can't just go back there and not go through any kind of read and just throw it blindly, which is what he did. He just hit his back foot and he threw it right over there like the guy was wide open, and he wasn't. I don't know. The cornerback was right on the receiver there. So that's why that made me mad. I'm like, how can you just go back there and just throw it? Like he didn't go through his progressions. And of course that one down in the end zone after the 18.
No, that was bad.
That would take me off more than anything.
Yeah.
And then he made a bad turnover inside the 30 again. It kind of costs us. And again, that just goes back to me talking earlier. I just think Daniel Jones is trying to do a little bit too much because we haven't been able to run the ball, and they've really struggled on offense. And sometimes a young quarterback takes it upon himself, like, okay, I have to be the guy. I have to be the guy. I have to be the guy. I'm not getting any blocking. None of my receivers are really getting open. Can't run the ball to save our life. I have to make something happen. I have to help my team win. And he's trying to do a little too much. I think once he grows out of that, and he will, again, guys, he hasn't really played a full season. He's played
14 games, 2 different schemes.
So, and he didn't have a preseason to get acclimated to this whole system. So we got to give him a chance. I'm frustrated just like you guys. Trust me, I'm frustrated. Trust me, I'm pissed. Okay, I'm sick of losing. I am sick of it. Okay, but I'm not going to give up on Daniel Jones. It's not happening. The Trevor Lawrence thing, like I said, I understand. People are upset. People want that exciting. They want that.
They want the Pat Mahomes. They want Pat Mahomes.
They want the Ferrari. I get it. Who the hell don't want to drive a Ferrari? But at the end of the day, a nice Nissan Rogue is going to get you from point A to point B.
Listen, man, I say it all the time. If we get that Ferrari and we don't have car insurance, that Ferrari is going to turn into Andrew Luck. He's going to be out of the league in 8 years. Exactly. We've got to fix the primary problem that's been here for 8 years. And they started to do it, and I think it's going to take a few more years for them to gel. But I think we're starting to head in that direction. Roldy, man, thank you so much. He says, guys, we knew when Garrett came here it wasn't the right move because his offense is based on throwing the ball down the field, knowing that we didn't have a good offensive line. We knew that, not a surprise. Well, we knew that the offensive line was going to take some time to gel. I don't know if we know that the offensive line is going to be horrible all year. You think back to 2018, that offensive line sucked the first half of the year. The second half of the year, once they got acclimated to playing with one another, obviously Jamon Brown helped as well, they played a lot better. I think this offensive line over the second half could be much better. I really do. It's not like Hernandez doesn't have talent. Hernandez is playing next to 2 people he's never played with before. A lot of playing on an offensive line has to do with continuity, has to do with familiarity. He's got Thomas to his left or to his right. His right? I don't even, whatever it is. He's got Thomas on one side. He's got Gates on the other. He's never played next to those guys before. Gates has never played the center spot. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I do think the offensive line could be acceptable by the second half of the year. So, and we'll see. If it's not, it's going to be a complete failure. I agree with you, Roldy, at least for this year. And Dyer Giants fan, man, thanks so much. He says, Dyard is the man. Thank you so much for being here. He says, what's up, guys? Thoughts on the tight end play in this game and much an effect it'll have on the game. Kittle's scared. Well, Kittle's out for the game, Dyard. I found that out right after I did my preview video. He's out for the game. Yeah. I hope Evan can keep up what he showed in the last half of week 2. They also have to have Smith in more. Yeah, Ingram played well. The one thing, Baddog, last week, Ingram didn't do anything in the first half. And when he was used in the second half, he was kind of used as like a check down option. When I think Evan Ingram, I want to see shots down the field. I want to see him break plays 15, 20 yards. He was kind of like a check down guy. He broke a couple of tackles. I want to see him used more down the field.
I don't know what the hell to do with Evan Ingram. I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what he's going to be used for. I don't. Maybe they do have to line him up in the slot. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do with him. I don't understand. I don't. He's
a liability in blocking. He's a liability in blocking.
He's an enigma. There's just no doubt about that.
Yeah. And Christian, man, thank you so much. He says, hey, guys, beat me to that 2% turnover-worthy play stat. Yeah, the PFF. That's all right, though. Hope you guys are having a good night. Yeah, Christian. I was impressed with that. I'm not 100% sure how they come up with their metrics, and I got to be fair. I bashed them when they have Jones at like 20 whatever last year. I can't then brag about it when he's 10, but I wanted to make note of it that they came up with that metric that he dropped from 5.5% to 2%, and they have him ranked as the 10th best overall quarterback so far. And I think a lot of that has to do with the defenses he's gone up against, the Steelers and the Bears. They probably factor that in. Ray Pittman, man, thank you so much for the love. Are online Big Blue sources actually credible? I have no idea. I don't know what online Big Blue sources are. You'll have to ask him. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much. And Peter, man, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. Based on PFF, DJ's playing with elite skills, but no elite production. He's learning a new system, and his processing hasn't caught up yet. When his processing catches up to his physical traits, he could really explode. Let me read that back again. Based on PFF, DJ is playing with elite skills, but no elite production. Well, that makes sense with the bad offensive line and the wide receivers. He's learning a new system, and the processing hasn't caught up yet. When his processing catches up to the physical traits he could do, I hope so, Peter. I definitely see. Here's what I'll say. I noticed at the first game, Baddog, he had more zip on his throws against the Steelers, in my opinion. I didn't see throws like that last year. I didn't. The one throw the most impressive throw to me in that game was the throw to Slayton inside his own end zone when he broke the zone coverage. I think there were 3 guys there. He split that tight window. DJ's got more zip on his throws this year. I will say that, and he definitely is showing more confidence. So, listen. I like DJ. I've been encouraged with his start. I know he's made some bad mistakes, but I've been encouraged with it. I think he's going to get better throughout the year.
The base. I mean, I'm building strength in his legs. That'll always give you a strong arm. I was talking to my nephew about this. My nephew went to the gym with me for the first time on Wednesday, and I said, "I'll give you a couple weeks before I make you do legs with me." But I said, if you start coming near with a buddy of yours, whatever, because he's young, he's not going to want to hang out with me. You know, I'm like 30 years old, and why the hell do you want to hang out with me? But if you want to go out with go to the studio, make sure you do your legs. A lot of guys don't do their legs in the gym. I don't know why. I don't know why you bother going to the gym. You're not going to build your legs.
I'll tell you why. Legs suck.
But the power in your body, all the power in your body is from the top of your knee to the bottom of your chest. That is where all your power is. Your core and your hamstrings and your thighs. That is all your power. Your chest, that's cosmetic. What do you lift with your chest? Nothing. You don't lift anything with your chest. When the hell are you lifting anything with your chest? You're not. You're not doing anything with your chest, ever. What do you let your shoulders hold your body above that? What do you use your traps for? What do you use your delts for? You don't use them. That's not your strength. Daniel Jones having strong legs is huge. When you have a guy like Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, why'd they throw so hard? Because they're base. If you have a great looking house above ground, but the foundation's weak, the house is weak.
You got chicken legs.
Strong foundation equals strong person. Daniel Jones' arm got stronger because he has a stronger bottom half. It's that simple. It really is. And the confidence helps too. You stand tall in the pocket. You have belief in your throws. You're going to let it go. Yeah. You don't have faith in your throws. You second guess them. You're not going to believe in your throws. You're not going to have the same zip on. It's really that simple. He looks much more confident. He's just got to stop at the bad turnovers. Like I said, that's just a product of trying to do too much, in my opinion. He'll get over that. Once the Giants win a couple games, you're going to see a completely different Daniel Jones. I'm still saying the guy's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league this year. I
think what you're doing is I still think you love Daniel Jones. I think that you're showing him tough love because you know what he's capable of.
That's exactly what it is. I know he's better than this. Yeah. I think I was probably the hardest on Daniel Jones when he drafted him. I also think I was the quickest to turn around and be the biggest supporter of Daniel Jones like a week later.
Outside of Fisk.
I'm not with legs.
Fisk called him Peyton Manning, yeah.
I'm not going to call him Peyton Manning, and I'm not going to call him Aaron Rodgers. I've called him Alex Smith. I've called him Prescott. I think that he is in that realm of quarterbacks. I think he could be a very good, like I said, top 10, top 8 quarterback with the right pieces around him. That was Alex Smith. That's Dak Prescott. I think he can be that guy. Both of those guys win. Let's just face it. That's what they do. They didn't win playoff games. Daniel Jones will have to do that. But, again, Dak doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He makes some, but he doesn't make a ton. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. And Alex Smith, the same thing. They're not going to wow you. Well, I mean, Dak Prescott's a little bit more flashy. He goes a little deeper. He's got better receivers. But Alex Smith didn't wow you with 70-yard passes. Alex Smith was very smart with the football and had very good drives.
I'm gonna say this though. He's got more arm strength than Alex Smith.
Well, that's why I call him a rich man's Alex Smith. I mean, that's why I said his ceiling is to me is a rich man's Alex Smith. So we'll see. That is why I'm tough on Daniel Jones because I truly believe in that guy's skills. I think that, like I said, he is a top 8 quarterback in his prime. He's not going to be elite. I don't think he's got that kind of talent. But if you're a top 8 quarterback in the league, top 7 like Eli was most of his career,
you can win. Yeah, get the team around him and you can win. Clear, man. Thank you so much. He says the Giants are going to surprise a lot of people this season. I definitely see us winning 6 or 7 games. Listen, I love the optimism. I'll tell you what, Clear. If this defense continues to play the way they're playing and they continue to progress, I think we could easily win 6 games. I think we could easily beat teams that you guys right now are saying there's no way that they could lose because I do think the offense is going to improve as the season progresses. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think the defense is ahead of schedule. What's your thoughts, Baddog?
Our defense?
Just in general. Do you think 6 or 7 Now that we started 0-2, do you think 6 or 7 is out of the realm of possibility?
No. I predicted us to go 6-10 before the season started. I definitely don't think it is. I did think that we'd win the first 2 games of the season. But watching how bad this division is, there's definitely, to me, we could win. We could sweep this division. Any team in this division could sweep this division.
Yeah.
Any team in this division could lose every game in this division too. It's that bad. It's up for grabs. But there's no doubt in my mind the Giants can easily go 4-2 or 5-1 in this division. There's not a doubt in my mind because none of these teams, Dallas,
that good.
In my opinion, on paper, Dallas they're clearly better than us.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is not. Washington's not. Okay, now we have to find a way to beat Philly because
we're cursed.
But
Dallas, I'm gonna tell you this: Dallas's defense looks bad.
They're terrible. They lost everybody.
To me, they're not unbeatable. They're not. I know their offense is really good, but
they're just better. They're better than we are.
They're better. Yeah, they're better.
No,
but I think,
not in my opinion.
I tend to agree with you.
Eagle fans clamoring for Jalen Hurts. I hope that they put Hurts. I really do. I'm not rooting for Wentz to get injured. Okay, I don't root for injury, but I want the Eagle fans to get a look at this guy and realize how bad he is. Okay, that's what's going to happen. He might come in. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you this right now. Carson Wentz is going to get hurt at some point. Okay, he's not going to be serious. He's going to pull a hamstring. He's going to get a concussion. He's going to go out for half a game. Hurts is going to come in and he's going to kill whoever they play because the team that they're playing is not going to
rotate.
Hurts.
Yeah,
he's going to come in there and he's going to have a big second half or something. And then all the Eagle fans are going to scream that Jalen Hurts needs to be the starter. Jalen Hurts needs to be the starter. Jalen Hurts. And then when a team has a chance to get film on Hurts and prepare for him, he's going to suck. And then they're going to see, Baddog is right. That guy's not a quarterback. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, it's just funny to me, and I'll get to Joel in a second. It's just funny to me that last year, all I heard from Eagles fans was how unbelievable, and Carson Wentz was, with all the wide receivers that went down, how he's ever looking. And it's this, the same thing I'm talking about with Giants fans, with Daniel Jones. It's the same thing there. And it's even worse there because they at least have a guy that has proven he could play at an MVP level. And they're already giving up on him after 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't believe they're giving up. I've said I thought Wentz was like a top 6 quarterback. Like I've backed Wentz because I think Wentz is ultra talented. I think he's very talented. He's everything you want. He's mobile. He was mobile. But 2 things happened to Carson Wentz. Number 1, the torn ACL. He's not been the same that, but the biggest one to me, and nobody mentions this, and I don't know why nobody mentions this. And this includes Eagle fans. Of course, Eagle fans, a lot of them are bandwagon fans, probably don't know that Frank Reich was their offensive coordinator in 2017. But when Frank Reich went to Indianapolis, Carson Wentz completely different quarterback. Completely different without Frank Reich there. So that, to me, is the biggest difference in Carson Wentz. I think that Frank Reich system fit him well, and they do not do that. And, again, you can call him a system quarterback, but as I've said, the smart offense coordinators, the smart head coaches build their systems around your quarterback strengths. Every quarterback should be a system quarterback. Plans, unless you're Pat Mahomes.
In a perfect world. Well, even Pat Mahomes has Andy Reid.
Right.
I mean, it's, Chizola, man, thank you so much. I just want to make sure I don't lose this. Can't play like dogs. Play like DAWGS dogs this game. Listen, I want to see them come out aggressive, Chizola. You got a backup quarterback in there. By the way, I see Dyer posted Baddog's link right there.
Man, buddy.
You can click that. Going over there. We'll be over there next week. So yeah, please check them out. I expect the defense to be more aggressive this week in terms of blitzing. A lot of people said, why did we only send 3 guys so much last week? I think we're going to blitz more because Mullins is out there. I think they're going to try to create turnovers. So I do think they're going to be dogs this week, as you call it.
Listen, we got people dogs on it. Andrew Thomas is a dog. Lorenzo Carter is a dog, right? So we had a dog, and now
technically we do have dogs. And one of them is no longer a dog.
Deandre Baker, he was a dog.
Yeah. Ray Pittman, thank you so much. He says, tank for Arch Manning 2026 draft. Yeah,
we don't need a tank for him.
2026. We already got Giants fans thinking about 2026.
We'll have a Super Bowl by then. No one will be thinking about Arch Manning at that.
Chizola says, weekly prediction, Danny, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, defense, 2 INTs. Well, if they do that, we win the game.
I'm in.
Yeah, well, we win if we do that. We're both in. Danny, man, thank you so much. He says, Jones doesn't steal crab legs. LOL, talking about Jameis Winston. We should cut Cam Fleming, move Gates to the right side, and sign Justin Britt for the rest of the season. Oh, here's the thing with Justin Britt. There's a reason Justin Britt hasn't been signed. He's an injury plagued. He's old and he's injury plagued at the center position. I think we got to see what we got with Gates. And Gates played better last week. Hopefully, he continues to prosper and get better. I think they're going to give Gates every opportunity to be the center of the future, or at least evaluate him.
When do you think Parrott becomes our right tackle? I mean, I would rather see Parrott. I'd rather see Parrott at right tackle than moving Gates back over to right tackle, to be honest with you. Or do you move Gates over to right tackle and put Shane Lemieux at center? Like, what are we doing with I don't know. I mean, those are two guys that are on the bench. I don't think you put Shane Lemieux in there. I think, like you said, I think let Nick Gates play center. Let's see what he does. Stop pulling him, though. Obviously, he can't pull from the center position. He's not fast. We see this. I don't know when Nick Gates was drafted, but let's face it, man. He was undrafted.
I think he was undrafted.
So there you go. When you're a backup on our offensive line the last few years, you're not good. Now, he came in there and he played good, but obviously he's not blowing up the combine. So stop pulling him. He's obviously not athletic enough to get out there. This is why we can't run screens. This is why we haven't run screens in 2 years effectively, because our guards and tackles don't know how the hell to pull out, and they don't know how to block. So you got to stop with that. Let him just man on man, helmet on helmet. Stop screwing around with him. It's a new position.
Yeah.
Just block the guy in front of him. To me, that would make him more successful. Now, Cam Fleming's garbage. So if you want to put Parrott over there and get him some experience, the sooner the better to me.
Yeah, as far as Parrott goes, I don't think they're going to – here's the thing. I think they're – I could be wrong. I think what the approach is going to be, they're going to look at the opposing defenses they're going up against these first 5-6 weeks. They probably still view Parrott as a young prospect that they're not fully comfortable throwing in the fire. And you look at these edge rushers, I think you're going to see Parrott, but I think it'll be around week 7, week 8, once they get past Chase Young and they get past DeMarcus Lawrence and they get, these first 6 games. But I think by midseason, unless Cam Fleming starts playing great, which I don't think you or me anticipate, I think you will see Parrott in there for at least the last 8 games or so of the season. And that's more than enough to evaluate him and see if he's the guy going forward. So I think that's what I expect anyway. And Roldy, man, thank you so much. He says, yes, T.J. Watt made a good play, but T.J. Watt did not make that ball. That ball probably gets picked in the secondary because there wasn't anyone open. Roldy, to be honest with you, I didn't get a chance to watch the game film. I talked to, I think it was Mike Too Nice. He told me that there was a guy that was open. I didn't watch the game film. Yeah, I didn't go watch the game film.
I don't think the corner would have picked it off. The corner was right on the receiver's back. He would have knocked it away. That was going nowhere.
Yeah.
So,
that is very fair. Probably. I mean, when I saw it live on the TV, that's what I thought as well. Not that it would have been picked, but it wasn't like the guy was open.
He was right there. Yeah, it wasn't open. I don't think it would have been intercepted. The defensive back was behind the receiver. So.
Yeah, but to me, Watt made a phenomenal play.
Anyway.
Yeah. Rickson, I appreciate that, man. He says, what's going on, family? I just want to say, don't worry, Giants fans. DJ is still a rookie. Technically, he is. He's 14 starts in, and he's learning 2 different schemes. I see his growth. He'll be a better quarterback at the end. One thing I do want to see more is DJ throw more and cadences. We haven't seen – that's a great point. Eli used to be notorious for that up at the line of scrimmage. You don't see that much with DJ. That's a very good point, Rickson. You don't see a lot of audibles up at the line of scrimmage, and that's something that a lot of Giants fans talk about. I think we'll see more of that as he grows, but yeah, I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more command up at the line of scrimmage. That's a really good point you brought up.
I always loved Eli's.
Omaha.
They always said something about Peyton saying Omaha. I'm like, Eli said Omaha the whole time. Omaha. But all Omaha was snap the ball because the play clock's running down. Every time we'll get under 5 seconds. Omaha, Omaha, hey! That's what it was. Every time. Omaha, every time.
Yeah.
I remember against Philly, and I'll never forget this. I don't remember the game, but I remember it was against Philly. He goes up to the line, he's like, Balboa.
Yes.
He threw a touchdown in the Balboa play. I think it was a Sterling Shepard, if I'm not mistaken, but he called the Balboa out there.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Good call. I forgot about that. Let's see what we got here. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much, man. Ray Man says, before the season, I had Wentz as a top 6 quarterback. Right now, I'm not sure if he's even the best in the division.
Same here.
He makes a lot of bad mistakes and is inconsistent.
Right with you. That's exactly. I felt the same exact way.
Did you see what his head coach said about him? Not that he came out and said anything, Doug Peterson. He didn't say anything derogatory. But I'm paraphrasing a bit. But somebody basically said, what's wrong with Carson Wentz? And he, most coaches there are going to say, He's going to be fine. You know, kind of like what Rickson just said about Daniel Jones. The coach will come out. He's going to be fine. You know, blah, 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 blah. He said, I don't know what's wrong with him. So Doug Peterson is not showing a lot of confidence in his $33 million quarterback. So maybe there is trouble in Eagle Land.
Wait till they put Hurts in there. Wait till you see there's no confidence in there. Wait till you see the confidence go right into the crapper with that guy. Wait till they move Carson Wentz away to another team, and Carson Wentz goes over there and kills it again. And then they have Jalen Hurts, and he stinks.
Oh, that would be great. That would be a dream come true. Rudy, man, thank you so much.
For Trevor over there.
Rudy says, what about Peyton's rookie season that DJ doesn't have? Rudy, Peyton sucked his rookie year.
28 interceptions.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, I thought it was 27. I guess it was 20. 28 picks in his rookie year in his first 16 games. Jones hasn't even played 16 games yet.
It was 28 or 26. He was 20.
He do a lot.
One way or the other. It was a lot.
And why did he have that many? Because the Colts sucked. They had a horrible football team, which is why he went first overall. So, yeah, I mean, we got to give him a little more. We got to give him more time, Rudy. We got to be fair with Daniel Jones. Al, man, thank you so much. He says, get a team around him. If Big 12 receivers suck, then bye-bye Shep. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I know you're a Shep guy, and I think you're on board with it. I think you're on board with it. The thing is, though, when you look at Shep's contract, it's not bye-bye Shep because next year his dead cap hit is more than his salary. So, unfortunately, unless he retires, which is possible with all the, hopefully he doesn't. I'm not hoping he gets concussion.
He's going to get his money.
Yeah, he's going to get his money. He'll be with the Giants at least through next year, and then we'll see after that. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but we say that every year about him, and it's just a matter of time before him or Ingram. Hopefully Ingram stays healthy. But, yeah, I don't think Shepard's going to see the end of that contract as a Giant.
Even 4 years. I don't know what that was. Shepard, I'm just so disappointed in Sterling Shepard. I love Sterling Shepard. Like I said, he's one of my favorite Sooners of all time. I just watching him and Baker Mayfield together, it was awesome. It's like Kyler Murray and CeeDee Lamb. And I joke around Cardinals fans saying, I know you took Isaiah Simmons. I know you needed I know you needed defense, man. But I'm like, man, I just if you would have taken CeeDee Lamb to go with DeAndre Hopkins and reunite Lamb with Murray, oh my God, that offense would have been unstoppable. Kyler Murray.
Oh. By the way, you see how Simmons is playing so far?
He's not good.
He's got the lowest PFF grade in football. He's got a 27. He got burnt by Mostert on that screen. It's early. It's only 2 games into his career, and I figured he'd be a player that would take some time to adjust because he doesn't have a true position. But not a good start for Isaiah Simmons. Let's put it that way.
It's been a good start for Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray's been phenomenal. Whatever. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I said before the season started, that's my dark horse MVP candidate. Cardinals are my dark horse team in the NFC. And I said when he was drafted, that kid's going to be a star. And I will stand by that because that.
Oh, you look really.
When I watch Oklahoma, I'm wrong about Shepard. I completely admit that. I thought Sterling Shepard would be a lot better. He's been bad. But most of the time, like I said, if I'm saying something about a Big 12 guy, it's usually true because I watch so much of it. I just thought Sterling Shepard's the way he played. I thought he has really good hands. He ran really good routes, and I thought he'd be a perfect slot receiver. Just never panned out. Like I said, he had a good rookie season, but then he got injured a lot.
Yeah, that's the problem with him. I think if he stayed healthy, he'd at least be a good wide receiver. Pete, man, thank you so much. Daniel Jeremiah said DJ Sealing is a very athletic Matty Ice. I'll take that all day.
I would take that all day too.
Yeah, just don't cough up a 28-3 lead. But, I've heard that comparison. I brought up the comparison to Tony Romo. And I don't think Romo gets enough credit for how good of a quarterback he was. We talk about this all the time, Baddog. But Romo was a really good quarterback. I see some similarities to Romo. That's a guy I brought up before. I don't think he's a carbon copy or anything, but that's a guy that I've brought up before.
I'll tell you what, he doesn't play like him, but looks a lot like him as Mitch Trubisky. Looks a lot like
Mitch Trubisky looks just like Tony Romo.
A lot like him.
Well, I said that last year when I was calling a Bears game. When you see the profile picture, I for a second was like, did Romo come back with the Bears? He looks just like him.
He does. I mean, he went to Eastern Illinois, so I mean,
maybe they're related.
He's from Illinois, so why not?
Diehard, man, thank you so much. He says, all I heard last year was the Eagles were going 13-3 and barely made the playoffs. Heard the same thing before this season. They're 0-2, and all I hear is panic. I love it. Reality hitting hard. Yeah, Eagles fan. Listen, Eagles fan. 13-3. I heard 19-0.
Listen, I heard that they were going to win 6 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, listen, the Eagle fans, it's a thing of beauty watching them squirm. Oh, and I want them to have a season where they're like we are, where they're 4-12. I want to see how many of them actually stay. Because Chris and I are here every single week, and this Giants community continues to grow every week, every year. You see more and more Giants video makers, and why? I mean, it's not like this team is good. It's not like this team has been good. They're just here because they love the team.
We're true blue.
We talked about this before. When your team is winning Super Bowls, when your team is 9-7 winning the division, when it's 13-3, it's so easy to come on here and talk about your team. When your team's season is over by the end of October, it's not easy, especially when everybody comes in here and tells you how bad you are, and you have to watch it every week and then discuss it every week. But when you love your team, that's what you do. So we'll see how many true blue Eagle fans there are. I watched a video today, guy talking about how their Super Bowl window's closed. Like I said, they're screaming for Jalen Hurts, just saying Carson Wentz is done.
Who was that? Who was that? I'm curious. Who was that?
What's that?
Which Eagle video maker was saying that?
What, that the Super Bowl window was closed?
That he wants Carson Wentz benched.
Oh, I don't know if it was an Eagles video, but just reading the comments section.
Oh, okay.
They all love Nick Foles.
Right.
So it's all this stuff. They're panicking over there. They want Howie Roseman gone. They want everybody gone.
Wait! I thought Howie Roseman was this magical mathematician. He was this cap expert. That's all I heard from Eagles fans last year.
I mean, I tried to tell the damn Eagle fans last year, and they go, "You don't know what you're talking about. Your window ain't closing." I said, "Your window's closing. You have so many bad contracts, and your team is getting old."
Right.
So I'm just looking at what I see. And now that, the window's closed. No, duh. Come on, man.
LA Lou, man. Thank you so much.
I suck though, Baddog. What are you talking about? You Giants fan, they suck. Yeah, just because we suck don't mean that you don't suck. Like, that's like a 350-pound guy calling a 400-pound guy fat. Just because a 350-pound guy is fat don't mean a 400-pound guy ain't fat. So just because the Giants ain't good don't mean that the Eagles ain't good either. We're going to kick the Eagles' ass this year. I'm calling them right now. We are beating the Eagles' ass. Why?
I agree. I said at the beginning of the year, we're clipping those wings this year. We're going to get at least one win. LA Lou, man, thank you so much. He says, hey there, my guys. Thought I'd inhabit Sir Cardinals for a while, but I'm here now. If Hurts ends up replacing Wentz, Roseman should be fired. I completely agree with that at this point. I mean, he probably would be, but Lou, man, I want to say congratulations to your Lakers. What is it, 3-1 now?
3-1.
So, yeah. So I know he's a big Lakers fan. So congratulations to that. You guys are a game away from the
we'll close out tomorrow.
NBA Finals. Ray, man, what were you saying?
You're like, Laker dog, you worried? The Nuggets are not there. I said, listen, the Nuggets had a great season.
Yeah.
I told everybody that Clippers series is going to at least 6. And then, when they were down 3-1, I said they'll win Game 5 and they'll win Game 6. I didn't think they did beat the Clippers. But I did say that in the West, Denver's my deep sleeper. They've had a wonderful year. Jamal Murray is a star. He is a star.
So is Jokic.
He looked like Jordan. He made a drive. That was as Jordan as I've ever seen. That guy went up, around, back. Oh, it was ridiculous. He's a star. He had a great season, but it had to come to an end, and it's coming to an end Saturday. The Lakers are not losing. The Lakers are winning the whole thing. Nobody can guard LeBron.
Oh, I agree with that.
They're winning the whole thing.
Yeah, it's almost a lock at this point. Ray, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. He says, speaking of Romo, can the Giants finally give Romo his ring for the overthrow of Miles Austin and interception to R.W. McCorders? As a Giants fan, I loved Romo. I loved him too, specifically in that game you're talking about, which led us to go on to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I was a big fan of Romo, Ray.
There, in 2007, the interception by R.W. McCorders, it was 4th and 11. He had to go to the end zone. They had no timeouts. And not that I'm sticking up for Romo or anything, okay? The throw to Miles Austin was terrible. Thank God for that, because that saved our season. When we were down 34-22 with 4 minutes ago, and Eli came back and scored 2 touchdowns, and then JPP blocked it.
What a freaking year Eli had that year. I'm just thinking back to that game. He was so good that year.
So good. It was just ridiculous. But it's just funny. I watched that game. My next door neighbor at his house, he said JPP is going to block the kick. And I'll never forget that, because I'm like, how the hell do you pick? Not only that the kick is blocked, but the guy that's going to, I'm telling you, I feel like JPP is going to block the kick. Did. I'm like, what? But, yeah, so, but Romo in that game, 2007, scrambling around. He's in trouble. He gets out of it. Patrick Creighton wide open, going, still running, dropped.
Yeah.
That's not Romo's fault. Can't blame that one on Romo.
Yeah.
Romo played good against us in 2007, but our defense was awesome. Now, as his career went on, we used to kick the living hell out of him, and I'm telling you, nothing brought a bigger smile to my face than watching Tony Romo get knocked in his ass. I loved when he got blind. I remember the last game in 2011 when we played them for the division. We were up like 31-14. I told my wife, I go, I just want to see Tony Romo get blindsided and get the hell beat up. Sure enough, Justin Tuck came around the side, bang, separated from the ball. Like, yes, an exclamation point. I love it. Him and McNabb, I loved watching. The game that we had 12 sacks in McNabb.
Oh, OC had 6.
Yeah, I still watch that.
Yeah.
I love those two getting hit. Nothing brought a bigger smile on my face than watching those two quarterbacks get murdered out there. But I hated them both with a passion. Now, I still hate McNabb, but Romo, I give Romo some respect, and it's probably because he's such a fantastic announcer.
Oh, he's phenomenal announcer. I respect both of them. I thought both.
Relatable guy to me. Like, I don't know Tony Romo, but he seems like he'd be a cool guy. Doesn't seem like he'd be an ass. He seems like he'd kind of be an average guy. Where Romo seems, or I'm sorry, McNabb seems like he'd be kind of a douche nozzle. Him and his 28 gallon bucket head eating chunky soup. I hate McNabb. I hated Syracuse.
What's going on, King to Kevin? We'll answer a couple of your guys' questions. Thank you to everybody for being here. I really do appreciate it, man. What's going on there, Schlick? What's going on, Dyer? Well, Dyer, man, Roldy, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, man. He says, I've always been an optimistic fan, but it changed for the most part because the state of the organization. Giants fans make excuses after excuses for this team. They try to justify everything. We didn't have OTAs, new scheme, players need time to develop. I mean, come on. Roldy, listen, I get you're frustrated, and maybe you don't want to hear that. But I listen, man, I'm always going to tell – I don't view that as excuses. That's just my personal mindset. I don't try to make excuses. I try to be – I try to come with a realistic approach, and I never thought this offense was going to gel right away because of those things. And I think it's reasonable to say that. We might want results. I want results. I don't want to see the team go out there and look horrible. But I tried to prepare myself for this. I thought the offense was going to struggle coming out with the defenses we were playing and the things that you just mentioned. No OTAs, new scheme. I talked about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, look at him. He looks like a different quarterback this year. His second year in the scheme, with Matt LaFleur. Last year, he was more of a game manager. People said, is Aaron Rodgers done? Now he's in the second year of it. He looks great. Josh Allen, he looks so much better his third year now that they've gotten him weapons, the offensive line. I'm not making excuses. I don't. Maybe you view it that way. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm trying to be reasonable. And trying not to blame Daniel Jones for everything. And I don't think he deserves the full brunt. I think that we do need to be patient. I know people hate hearing that word as New York sports fans or New Yorkers in general. None of us are patient. But I do think that there were factors this offseason that you have to take into account.
Yeah, I mean, Roldy, you watch my videos. I mean, I don't make excuses. I got killed for that. Listen, there's 2 Daniel Jones videos I did. I'm the biggest Daniel Jones fan there is. I got killed when I talked about how he looked terrible in the freaking scrimmage, which he did. He looked bad and he fumbled in the damn game. So I got killed. Oh, the scrimmage, it's just a scrimmage. I'm like, right, so he should look a lot better than he did, okay? That was just my opinion. And then I blamed him for the loss of the Steelers. And what I got was, we were supposed to lose that game anyway. We were supposed to lose. I don't care what we're supposed to do before the game. When you're in the middle of the game and you're up 10-3 and you make a bad interception after the defense went 3 and out, the Steelers come back and go down by 1 because they missed the extra point.
Yeah.
That's it. When you have a chance to take the lead 17-16 after a great drive that you did everything right and then you make a stupid play, that turns the momentum of the game around. Mm-hmm. So I don't make excuses. I got killed for that because I'm about as Roldy. I don't know how old you are. I'm guessing we're just reading the things you say. I'm guessing we're about the same age because I said this too. Generations are different. Today's generation expect everything. It's a now generation because everything is at your fingertips now. You want to look someone back. It's on the computer. Everything's now. Got to have it now. Well, patient. When I grew up, man, it wasn't like that. I said this. There was no participation trophies. You didn't get, good job, Johnny. You get a trophy. Hell no. You won or you didn't win. It's just that simple. Seconds sucked. It was that simple. It's just a different generation. I'm more patient about it, but at the same time, I'm still mad. Like, I'll still call the guys out.
I think some of that is justifiable. I think when they deserve to be called out, you should. But at the same time, I agree with what you just said. This generation, and I'm not part of this generation. I'm older, not quite as old as you. Not trying to rub it in.
Yeah, sure.
But this
stream talking about
but this younger, 17, 18, 15.
Yeah.
It's the microwave generation. They just want it to work right away. And that's what
they haven't seen them win.
Yeah. No, I know. But that's what I try to speak out against. You have to realize when you start from the bottom, it's not everything's just gonna flow. You're going to have bumps in the road, you're going to have growing pains, and it sucks that we're going through it. But all we can do is hope it gets better, and we have to give them a fair opportunity to prove themselves. Specifically, Daniel Jones.
Rolly, I know you weren't talking about me when you said, well, I guess when you said like the no OTAs, the no minicamp and stuff. See, to me, like I said, I was trying to get to that. That I'm not a guy that makes excuses, but I do think that definitely hurt Daniel Jones because at least when you have preseason games, like I said, you're seeing, even though it's a vanilla defense, you're getting live gameplay. You're getting actual game speed. You're actually getting hit, and your linemen actually have to block for real. Like, you start to get a little bit of chemistry with these guys. You have 4 games to get some chemistry, to get down the cadences, to learn the blocking schemes, to get, a rapport with your wide receivers, and to try to get the timing down and the execution. These are things that he didn't have. And it's difficult when you have a new scheme you're learning. I guess that's, like I said, I agree with Chris. I don't think Chris is making excuses. I think that's just a fact.
I think it's being realistic.
I agree. And you see, but it hasn't worked for the Eagles. I mean, I thought the Eagles would come out and do a lot better, but Dallas hasn't played well under a new scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, even oh God, I'm trying to think. I can't think of the other.
Well, most times there's growing pains when you go through a new scheme, especially when you don't have a normal offseason. Let's see what we got here.
Remember, he has a new center, so
new left tackle, new right tackle.
Right, but the center's giving him the ball.
Yeah,
the center, there's a lot of rapport between the center and the quarterback. So he's learning a new center as well. He's learning how Nick Gates snaps the ball. There's little intricacies like that don't show up in the box score that he's got to get timing down with Nick Gates. Maybe Nick Gates is snapping the ball a split second before Jones is ready for it, or a split second late. We don't know because we're not out there. But these are all things that go into the preseason. Everyone's like, preseason games don't matter. The final score don't matter. But what you learn from those games really does matter, and it shows up early in the season. And you can tell that the Giants, like Chris said earlier, these first 4 games, although they count, it's kind of like a preseason right now.
Especially for us.
Right.
Especially for us because of all the unfamiliarity. Funk says if the Giants sweep Dallas, they win the division. I think they go 1-1 against Dallas, Philly, and sweep this Washington. You know what? Funk, if they sweep Dallas, they got a shot. I mean, if they do those other things, Funk, if they go for the division, which is what you're implying, if they were to sweep Dallas, I agree with you. We probably win the division if we go 5-1 in the division.
5-1 in the division wins the division.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you.
Very, very, it is.
Yeah.
We own to.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlanta watched them. They legitimately sat there and watched them take. They all stood back and watched. You gonna get that?
They got gifted that game.
They're smooth coming and go. It's scripted. I don't ever think that, but I'm sitting there going, "Is that real? Did they really just?" Whoa, it might roll out of bounds. What are you doing? Go up there and get the ball. I mean, shoot it! Didn't Atlanta. We're talking about the worst city in professional sports, Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta's pretty bad.
Is trash. Everything about it is trash. Falcons never playing a Super Bowl, blow a 28-3 lead, right? They can't do anything right. They get into the Super Bowl against Denver. Eugene Robinson sees the prostitute. He gets arrested. They get blown out there. The Braves are the greatest team ever assembled in the National League. They can only win 1 World Series. The Yankees beat the hell out of them twice, which I love.
They're so bad that Slita, who I got nothing against, was bragging that the women's soccer team won a championship.
Right. So think about this. Atlanta, the Braves couldn't sell out playoff games. The Hawks couldn't sell out playoff games. And the Falcons had to pump in crowd noise because their fans ain't loud enough. That stinks. Move the entire Atlanta. Just take the city of Atlanta and put it somewhere else in the country. Maybe it'll be better. How do you blow a freaking 15-point lead with like a minute to go?
They had a 21-point lead in the first half, right? Like, just horrible.
Well, lead like throughout the game.
Yeah, horrible.
Atlanta sucks. You know?
Jason, man, thank you so much. He says, I got lucky, started to follow the Giants at 12 in 2006. That was a good time to follow them, Jason. And I'm sure that, obviously you're a diehard fan. You still tune into all my stuff. You're always here supporting the channel. But I'm sure you probably got a little spoiled. You probably 5 years in, you're like, oh, this team's always going to win. And now you're going through the tough times.
By my third year in 1986.
Yeah.
10 years old. They won the Super Bowl. Then they won it 4 years later. And like I said, from 1984, when I started watching them through 2011, they were in the playoffs most years. They were in the playoffs, what? 84, 85, 86, they won it all. They had a bad year in 87. 88, they were 10-6, didn't make the playoffs. 89, they were 12-4, made the playoffs. 90, they won a Super Bowl. 91 and 92, they were bad. You know, they didn't win. 93, they were back in the playoffs. 94, they were 9-7, didn't make the playoffs. 95, they were bad. 96, they were bad. 97, they were back in the playoffs, lost that heartbreaker to Minnesota. 98, they weren't good. 99, they weren't good. 2000, they were back in the Super Bowl. Missed the playoffs in 01, back in the playoffs in 02, missed in 03 and 04, back in 05, 06, won in 07, back in 08, won it again in 11. And they were 10-6 in 2010. So
you go through spurts.
Why the hell do I know all this stuff?
Because you're a lunatic.
Tell me again that I like when people are like, "Well, you bad? Give up with the Giants. You're not a real fan." Yeah, okay. I'm gonna die with this damn team for freaking 37 years. But like I said, I'm not afraid to call players out because I've said this before. I am not a player guy. I do not play favorites. Do I like certain guys more than others? Yes. Do I like Daniel Jones? I love Daniel Jones. Do I love Saquon Barkley? Absolutely. Did I love Sterling Shepard? Of course. Sterling Shepard is probably my favorite player on this damn team for a while. He stinks. I mean, it's just what it is. Just because I like you don't mean I ain't going to call you out. You ain't doing your job. And if I don't like you, doesn't mean I won't give you credit if you do. Except for Sanchez for the Yankees. I'll never give him credit. He sucks. Single-A Sanchez, get the hell off the team. I'm sick of looking at him. Want to punch him in his lazy-ass face. I can't stand the guy. He stinks. Sorry.
It's all right. L.A. Lou, man, thank you so much. He says, are you two streaming the Rams? Of course, we stream every game. That'll be on Baddog's channel next week, L.A. Lou. I know you're a Rams fan. Yeah, that'll be on Baddog's channel. And this week will be on mine. And let's see what we got here. Zach says, as hard as the Falcons choked, Dak did play well. Yeah, I mean, Dak threw for what, almost 500 yards or whatever. Yeah, he played well.
Remember at the beginning of the game last week, our game, somebody said, guys, who do I play, Matt Ryan or Dak Prescott? And you said it doesn't matter. They're both going to have huge games.
And they both did.
And there you go. Behind, so we had to throw a ton of times, you know. I think I say Matt Ryan. I think I said pick Matt Ryan because the Cowboys' defense is really bad, and you said it doesn't really matter because they're both terrible. They're both going to have big days, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. A matter of fact, last week, if you would have asked me going into the week, if you do daily fantasy, who's the two quarterbacks you would have picked, I would have picked both of them because I knew that game was going to be a shootout. I knew both their secondary sucked, and that's why if I'm a Dallas fan, I don't read a lot into that game because Atlanta's defense is among one of the worst in the league. You knew it was going to be a shootout going in.
79 points in 2 games or 78 points in 2 games.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not knocking Dak. I think Dak's a good quarterback, but the Falcons are bad. The defense is bad.
Knock Dak. He stinks. Put him on the Jets and let's see how good he is.
Oh, he'd be bad on the Jets.
You can put Darnold on the Cowboys and Darnold will still stink. They're talking about Jets fans are talking about tanking for Trevor. Jets fans, when are you going to admit that I was right about Darnold stinking? Just admit it. Just tell me I'm right. Just give me, you're right, Baddog. He stinks. Just give it to me. You know you want to.
Jason, young man, thank you. He says, I'm taking Baddog to Vegas. That's a good memory. Talking about the team.
Oh, because I can count cards.
And Lou says, remember, there's no crying in football. Kidding, LA Lou says.
Lou, I love you, buddy. You know that. You're one of our better support. You're on every stream. You're in every video. We love you. We've been crying for 3 years. If you beat us, it has got nothing to do with that. We just stink. And we're just sick of losing.
The Rams are really good, Lou. So you guys, to be honest with you, it's in LA. You guys are pretty great.
Donald is going to scare the living, but I don't even want to think about that.
They should beat us. I mean, the Rams are really good.
I didn't want to think about Aaron Donald.
But let's get to that game for we got an opponent this week.
I know, but
we got to help out LA Lou this week. We got to beat the
Niners. Got to help out LA Lou. You got to help out my boy Arizona Animal too. I love Arizona Animal. He's a typer. He's been on my channel for years. He's a Cardinals fan, so obviously he's seen the dark days for many years. Always used to come on and used to just bust on the Eagles all the time. He always used to love when I'd make fun of the Eagles. Now he likes to bust on Daniel Jones all the time. But this week he said, I can't believe I'm going to root for Daniel Jones. You guys can beat them. Like, I hope we do.
I think we can. Sonny, man, says, been watching since 84, and this stretch has been the worst. Yep. Sonny, I've been watching, probably around 92, 93 is when I first started really getting into the Giants, and this is by far the worst. It's been.
Sonny, I started watching the same exact year you did, 1984. And it is by far the worst stretch we've had to endure. Because like I said, I just went through all those years. And we were in the playoffs at least every third year, even when we were bad. We never had a stretch where it took 4 years to get back to the playoffs until now.
Yeah.
We were there in 2016, but I've said before, that was a fluke. It was a terrible team, a terrible offense, very good defense that played a very, very, very weak schedule. And I think we won one game by more than 7 points. So, that was a good team.
Yeah, we skated by with a soft schedule that year.
Beat Dallas. That was why. That was why we even got to the playoffs.
Beat them twice. Yeah. Roldy, man, thank you so much. He says, we as Giants fans haven't seen eye to eye since 2018 from Welcome of Gettleman and him taking a running back with the second overall pick. Sorry for venting. Listen, man, I get it. And right now, I can't defend the Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon. I'm going to love Saquon. I'm going to cheer my ass off when he comes back. And it's not due to the injury, but at the end of the day, when you look back at it, if you're being fair, and I love Saquon. Now, I continue to say this. If they would have taken Nelson at 2, Giants fans still would have complained. I honestly believe that in my heart because I don't think Nelson would have changed the offensive line by himself. You wouldn't have had a weapon. The team still would have been bad, and people would have complained about that. They would have said you should have traded down. You should have got a quarterback. So if the Giants weren't taking a quarterback at 2, and if they took a quarterback, it turns out it probably would have looked bad because it was probably going to be Darnold. So unless the Giants traded down, it's a no-win situation because if they were going to be bad no matter who they took there. More than likely.
Lamar Jackson, which they weren't taking at 2.
Nobody was taking Jackson at 2, though. Let's be fair. Well, Cruz might have, but let's be fair. But if you're being fair, nobody was taking there. But the proper, we should have traded down. If there was a trade there, we should have traded down. I'll say that. But you don't take guards at 2 overall. You just don't.
Maybe there wasn't a trade. Maybe the Jets never tried to get with us.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
The Jets actually traded up to 3 to get Baker Mayfield. And they thought Cleveland was going to as far as I remember, they thought Cleveland was taking Saquon. And they thought the Giants were taking Darnold. And they were going to take Baker. Well, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up with Darnold because Darnold stinks. And I said that from day one when they said we should have taken Barkley, we should have taken Darnold. And this is before I knew Darnold. I knew Darnold wasn't going to be good from day one. But when people were like, Darnold this, Darnold that, I said Darnold would have been handing off to Wayne Gallman. That was not going to work with a bad offensive line. That was not going to work. It doesn't work for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has done bad. Daniel Jones had better numbers than Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones has played better than Sam Darnold.
No, he has.
A bad team around.
Yeah. No, he has. Jason, man, thank you so much. Speaking of the Jets, I love Beningo's rants. Oh, Beningo's great. Bro. I mean, come on, bro. The pain, bro. I love Beningo. Beningo's fantastic.
Beningo's 1,000 years old. Somebody asked me to watch Beningo and Robert or listen to him, and I said, no, I mean, they're Mets Jets. Those aren't my guys. I listen to Francesa because he's Yankees Giants, and because, like I said, I probably have the mixed personality of Mad Dog and Francesa. So they're my guys. That to me, those are New Yorkers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're not hardcore New Yorkers. Francesa's
well, they're Jet fans. Beningo's Jet fan. Omkar says Giants still would have taken Barkley. I don't think so. If they would have traded down to 5 with Denver, which was the most logical team when that was the rumor, I think the Browns take Barkley at 4. Maybe they still take Ward. I think they would have taken Barkley at 4. By all accounts, you listen to anybody pre-draft, Barkley was the number 1 prospect in the entire draft. So Cleveland already got their quarterback. I think they would have taken Barkley at 4.
If they couldn't get Baker Mayfield, which was another guy I wanted, and he sucks right now. I was happy they took Saquon.
I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to be one of these fans that complains. I love Saquon, but I recognize the. I get the criticism because we didn't have an offensive line. When you draft a running back, it's a win now pick. He's got a short shelf life, and we didn't have the offensive line to support him. So I understand it. But there was no win there. There was no win.
OGR has mentioned this. I've mentioned this. Got to remember something. I have a feeling that Gettleman did not pick Barkley. That was ownership telling him, you have to try to win with Eli.
I agree. No, I agree with that.
So they were trying to – he said we're trying to win and rebuild. As you can't do that. So Saquon Barkley, that pick was not rebuilding. Will Hernandez in that draft, that is trying to rebuild. So that was why that thing kind of got a little screwed up there, because they were trying to win in 2018. They were trying. And listen, the second half of the season, we saw how good that team actually played. They could have been 7-1 down the stretch. They started off really poor. They made a lot of dumb mistakes. But that Giants team in 2018 was better than the one last year by a lot.
Much better.
So they actually did have a chance to win, but they just could not. That was Pat Shurmur, in my opinion, lost us a lot of close games at the beginning of the year. And I still feel like that Giants team could have been better than it was.
They didn't catch breaks that year. The 63-yard field goal, that was in the first half of the year as well.
5 downs, right. They had 5 downs.
Yeah, they didn't catch breaks that year. And, no, you're right. That team wasn't as bad as their record was. I agree with that.
That's why I think they took Barkley. I don't think that was all Dave Gettleman. I really don't.
I agree with you. I think ownership. I think Gettleman took the job, and he was, and this is just speculation. We'll never know. But I do think that Mara told him, I want Eli to get another shot at this, because he saw in 2016 they were really good. They went 11-5, 17. They just got loaded with injuries, and he probably still believed in the defense coming back. Everybody was healthy. He said, "Let's bring in a defensive mind with Betry." He had great success in Arizona. And let's give Eli one more shot at this. And I think that's what happened. And it didn't work. But, you could point the finger wherever you want. If you want to blame Gettleman, you can. I agree with you, though. I think it's more Mara than Gettleman. I think Mara wanted to give Eli one more crack.
I feel like when you're bad for such an extended period of time, it comes down to ownership. I feel like if you're bad for a couple of years, 3 years, and you get rid of the GM and then things change, you can blame the GM or you can blame the coach. But when your organization is as bad as the Giants have been since 2013, that has to do with ownership. They're making the wrong moves. They're hiring the wrong people, and they're making the wrong moves. That's ownership. That's why the Knicks have been bad for 20 years. That's why Washington's been bad for 20 years. They have bad owners. The Mets, outside of 2015, they haven't been good either. It's bad ownership. The ownership messes you up because nobody can fire the owner. Jerry Jones.
Starts at the top. Davis with the Raiders. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And Roldy, man, thank you so much. He says we could have traded down for Nelson if we didn't like a quarterback. As far as Nelson, he did basically change that Colts O-line. Okay, I'm going to speak on that. Did basically change that Colts O-line by himself. So, yes, I think he would have made a difference in our O-line. The Colts offensive line definitely got a lot better. First off, they did have some talented players on that line, but I'm going to speak to Frank Reich. Like Baddog said, I don't think Frank Reich gets enough credit for that offensive line turning around. The system that they brought in there, that he brought over from the Eagles, I think makes that offensive line look a lot better than it really is. I don't think Nelson did that by himself. I think the acquisition of Reich also helped that offensive line tremendously. I remember reading articles on that.
It doesn't hurt that Andrew Luck is your quarterback. A healthy
that too. Yeah.
That certainly helps too. Andrew Luck was a veteran. Eli Manning would be a veteran too, but Eli Manning was at the end of his career. Andrew Luck, I guess he was not in his prime, but he was. He just decided to retire early. But that certainly helped. There's no doubt about that. But
I'm not saying Quentin Nelson's the best guard in football. He's phenomenal. He would have been a great pick by the Giants. But do I think we're a winning team if we bring him in? No. I think we still have too many holes on this team. Hindsight 2020, yeah, he would have been a better pick. It would have made the offensive line much more sturdy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, hindsight 20. I agree with that.
Just like all the people that got on me about saying I guarantee you're going to beat the Bears. Y'all come over to this age poorly. Well, no kidding. That's what happens when the guarantee ain't right. But, I'm able to put my face out there. I'm going to be wrong. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Nobody's right 100%. I know some people think they're right all the time.
No.
I understand some people think they're never wrong. I get that. So, hindsight 2020. Well, I should have made that video. But I like when people tell me I jinxed the Giants. I'm like, are you kidding me? We are 12-38 in our last 50 games. You think me guaranteeing we're going to beat the Bears jinxed them? Stop.
Listen, man. If you're gonna be honest, you're gonna be wrong probably almost half the time when you put your neck out there and you make bold predictions. It is what it is. Sometimes you're gonna look really smart, and other times you're gonna look really dumb, and it is what it is. And you gotta realize that. And if people get on you, So to them, I say, you come on here, you make predictions, and you're going to be wrong half the time, too.
I made some fantastic. One of my favorite prediction is the video from March of 2018 when I said the New York Giants should trade Odell Beckham to Cleveland. And guess what they did a year and a half later? They traded him to Cleveland. Not to mention when they traded Olivier Byrne, and I came right on that video and I said, don't be surprised if Odell Beckham's next. And guess what happened? It was unfathomable. Baddog, you're insane. You're on crack. There's no way they trade Beckham. 2 days later, Beckham gone. So, yeah, sometimes I do get it right. Sometimes I don't. Maybe the thing I was thinking more with my heart than my head, but I really thought that we could beat the Bears. And you go back and watch a game, we could have beat them.
We could have beat the Bears. We were 10 yards away from beating them. Jason Young, man, thank you very much. Just the 2018 draft to me is just really on John Mara because Mara believed that if he just gave Eli weapons, we snuck into the play. Yeah, that's basically what we just said, Jason. I kind of agree with you on that. Thank you very much, though. I appreciate it. And David, man, what's going on, man? He says, if you had a bet right now, which team will wind up with the worst record and number 1 overall pick? I know I probably got some Jets subscribers that might be in here right now. I'm not trying to bash your team. I'm picking the Jets. The Jets have a brutal schedule. They're without their 2 best defensive weapons for the entire year. They obviously traded away Adams. They lost Mosley, and their wide receivers are completely banged up. The offensive line has been actually pretty good. Mekhi Becton looks really good by all accounts, but I think the Jets are really bad, and they play really tough schedule.
Coach in the league.
And Adam Gase is horrible. So, I'm going with the Jets. I think the Jets get the first pick.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I see Clark's Bleach said Baddog equals Skip Bayless. Yeah, just you have to take one of the zeros away from his paycheck to be me.
Yeah, I'd gladly be Skip Bayless for what he gets.
Yeah.
And Giselle, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. He says we would have beat them if Ballantyne could cover. Well, that's definitely like we said it earlier. That's the Achilles heel of this defense right now, and it's why we're not blitzing more often. But it's not Ballantyne's fault. I almost feel bad bashing Ballantyne because it's not his fault. He's not supposed to be starting. He's starting because we have no choice because Deandre Baker is an idiot. So, but we didn't expect Ballantyne to be good. He's a 6th round pick that went to Washburn. We saw what he did last year when he was thrust in there. He's definitely not the long-term answer there. Maybe he could improve, but right now, no, I don't feel comfortable with Corey Ballantyne as the second cornerback, but I didn't when the year started.
Could have beaten him if Daniel Jones didn't turn it over twice. We could have beaten him if the Bears didn't start off 9 for 12 on 3rd down and we weren't 3 out of 13 on 3rd down. We could have beaten them if we could have ran block better. Could have beaten if Saquon Barkley didn't tear his ACL. I mean, there's a ton of reasons we didn't beat them.
Well, I thought of one play after the game that I didn't mention in my post-game video. Do you remember the play? I don't remember how much time it was in the first half where it was 4th and whatever. And they went out there with like 5 seconds left to try to draw them off sides. And it was like around midfield. And we said to ourselves, why did you call the timeout there? You could have just taken the 5-yard penalty and then punted it. Had they had that timeout, they'd probably get more yardage for that field goal before the end of the half. They might win the game if they get that. If they make that go from 45 instead of miss it from 57, then they kick a field goal at the end of the game. They end up winning the game. So there's blame to go around throughout the entire game.
That's what I'm saying. When you're a bad team, you can point to a bunch of little things. See, to me, it's not one play. I mean, obviously, if somebody throws an interception in the end zone like that, lost the game. But over the course of the game, there are so many little things that if they did them differently, it's always a culmination of plays over 60 minutes that wins or loses you the game. It's not one particular play. There may be one particular play or two that stand out, like Daniel Jones throwing the interception on the 19-play drive. Like that one really stands out to me in Pittsburgh. We still may have lost that game, but that was a huge momentum shift in my opinion. The first interception wasn't good, but that one in the end zone, that one hurt. I mean, you could see the life just fall out of me and Chris. Like, oh my God, that's intercept. Like everything we got all this energy, and then it was just like, oh God, not again.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm a fan, man. I try to analyze the team. I try to come on here and be as unbiased as I can, but at the end of the day, when you tune into those streams, I'm a fan. I get passionate just like Baddog does, and it's tough to see your team play poorly. It is, even if you expect it. Sometimes it's tough to see it. You don't want to go. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. And hopefully we see a different result this week. I think we're gonna have an opportunity. By the way, I want to shout out Authentic. I see he's in the chat. I just gave him a wrench so I could see it from now on. Authentic is friggin' awesome. One of my best subscribers. Been with me forever. I was on his channel this week. He came on my channel on Saturday. He has got a phenomenal podcast. If you guys haven't done so, go on over there, check him out. He does an NFC's podcast. Check him out. Max, man, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. Season ends today. What position do you draft and why? See, this is such a tough question for me, Max. It really is, because I need to evaluate the rest of the team over the last 14 games. But if you ask me right now, I'm between either an edge rusher or a cornerback, and it depends on where I'm picking in the draft. But for me right now, I view those as our primary concerns. Linebacker as well, wide receiver as well. I get it. There's a lot of needs that we have. Our second cornerback is so bad, and we desperately need an edge rusher. So to me, it would be one of those two spots, depending on where we're picking in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad that the cornerback position ended up being what it did. But I've said this before. I feel like good pass rush hides a bad secondary. So to me, I want that edge rusher. I want your Greg Rousseau out of Miami. I mean, that's the type of guy you want. You want a guy that gets you 15, 17 sacks off the edge. Because if it's 3rd down and 8 and your guy's getting there, quarterback's not going to have time to locate the weak spot over there. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But if he has time to pick apart the defense because you don't get there, obviously that weakness is going to show up. Now, I felt like Dallas a couple of years ago, because they had such a good pass rush, that it hid their below-average secondary. I feel like that happens. So
I think it could be reversed too, though. If you have a great secondary, it could make a below-average pass rush look better, like it's done so far for us this year.
Coverage sacks.
Coverage sacks. Yeah. So, but I agree. I think I would label the edge rusher as our number 1 right now. I think corner is number 2, and then wide receiver, middle linebacker, coverage linebacker. That's probably the next for me. And center. Center's definitely a big need too, unless Gates takes a step up. Roldy, man, thank you again, man, so much, man. I appreciate it. Don't want you and Baddog to think I'm negative. I like to think I'm a realist. I just want to see my team. No, Roldy, I don't think you're negative, man. And I never tell people how to analyze their team, how to judge their team. Listen, man, that's what I always say on my channel, man. I'm always open to hearing your opinion, anybody else's opinion, and we're going to disagree a lot of times. That's what sports is about. If we agreed on everything, it would be boring. So as long as everybody's respectful, Baddog will make videos. Sometimes I'll disagree with it. I'm not disrespectful. I say my opinion, and Baddog will disagree with some of the things I say. He'll say his opinion, and that's what sports is about. So, no, not at all, man. Roldy, I don't think you're negative. I just think you look at a team sometimes differently than I do. That's all.
Roldy, you and I think exactly the same. So I'm definitely not thinking you're negative. You and I think the same. That's why I kind of figured we were probably the same age, around the same age, because we have the same mindset. And as I've always said, number 1, I always like when somebody tells me how to root for the Giants. I tell somebody, don't ever tell me how to root for my team, because I've been rooting for the Giants longer than most people, on my channel have been alive. That's a fact. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are not 38 years old or older than 38 years old, or 37. I've been rooting for the Giants for 37 years. So that's number 1, because I would never tell anybody else how to root for the team. They wanted to tank for Trevor Lawrence. I may not agree with that, but if that's the way you want to root for him, I'm not going to tell you you're not a Giants fan. It's just how you root for him. We're not going to root for the same things. We're going to think that different things are going to fix this team quicker. At the end of the day, we all just want them to win. We may have different ideas of how we think they can win, but at the end of the day, we all want them to win. And we're not always going to win. There's going to be people that didn't like Odell Beckham being traded. Personally, I thought that was a good move for the Giants. Okay? There's going to be people that didn't want Saquon Barkley drafted with the 2nd overall pick. I did want Saquon Barkley, drafted as 2nd overall. I did want Sterling Shepard. They ended up being bad. I did want Deandre Baker. He ended up being bad. Okay? I didn't want Sam Darnold. He ended up being bad. There's things. I didn't want Daniel Jones. He might end up being good. So it is what it is. Some people love the Daniel Jones pick. Rover did. Now Rover's killing Daniel Jones.
Rover, I got to speak to Rover. Rover's really killing Daniel Jones. Yeah, which is so ironic, because on draft night, I'm flipping out, you're flipping out. It's all Gucci. He's going to be great. And now he's the guy that's panicking and overreacting.
It's just, but like I said, we're all just frustrated.
Yeah, we're all frustrated. We want to see this team.
We had our beef for like a year and a half, and when we talked, like he said, if the Giants were winning, this would have never happened. It's because I used to get, and this just goes to speak to the fact that I don't care who you are. If you don't play well, I will go after you. And I would go after Eli Manning, saying he doesn't have it anymore. He needs to sit down. He can't play. It's not because I disliked Eli. Cop thinks I was just like trying to ride him and everything else. I'm like, no, it's just I didn't feel like
you wanted to see the team turn the page.
I just was I was ready to move on, and that's what it was. was. And it had nothing to do with me disliking Eli. Eli is my second favorite or third favorite Giant all time behind Bavaro and LT. So I love Eli, but I was just ready for something different. At that point, I'm like, I don't feel like we could win with them, and let's try something different.
Yeah,
so,
I understand. I understand.
If we were 12-4, I would never said that about Eli Manning.
Of course.
If I wasn't playing well, I would have never said that.
Yeah. I got both sides of the Eli argument. I did. We'll talk about that on another show, but I got both sides of the Eli argument. Giants champions, man. Thank you so much for love. He says, who do you think is the best O-lineman out of the four? You mean out of the – oh, do you mean out of the – okay, Giants champion. I'll answer both ways because I don't know exactly what you mean. Do you mean out of the top four from this year's draft class, or do you mean the best offensive lineman on the New York Giants? Right now, the best offensive lineman on the New York Giants, I would still say, is Kevin Zeitler. If you're asking who's the best offensive lineman out of the top four tackles of this year's draft class, which is what I think you're asking, I think it's way too early to tell. I mean, so far, a lot of people are saying Mekhi Becton is off to an unbelievable start, but let's take into account who Andrew Thomas has gone up against. You're talking about the best pass rushers in the entire league. So let's see a full season worth of games before we start to really say who's the best of these tackles. I think they're all good. It's why all the experts said months leading up into the draft, it's the best tackle class in like a decade. So, and it's why I was so for the Giants taking a tackle.
How good is Becton really? Sam Darnold has been terrible. The Jets' offense has been terrible. They can't run the ball either. They can't throw the ball. Their offense has been worse than ours.
Yeah.
How good is he really? Like, what is he doing that's really good?
I'm just telling you what people on I've been watching tape breakdowns and stuff, and they're saying he's played really well. But
I'm saying, does it matter?
It's too early to tell.
Well, I guess it'll matter when they have Trevor Lawrence there.
Then they might, and when they get the offensive line as a whole gets better.
I think we all said that Becton had a huge upside, but he was raw, and now he had a big potential to bust. So right now he's played well. Hopefully with the Jets he does continue to play well. But there was no doubt he had talent. It's just, is he going to eat himself out of the league?
Yeah.
That was a block. He was a city block. That was huge.
I think Andrew Thomas is going to be great, and that's all I really care about. I don't care who's the best of the four, to be honest with you. I just want him to be great, and I think he's going to be.
They can all be great as long as
Becton could be the greatest left tackle of all time as long as Andrew Thomas is a sturdy left tackle that we know we could depend on, one of the best left tackles in football for a 10 or 15-year stretch. The pick was worth it. Obviously, you want to get the best guy, but I think Andrew Thomas is going to be a force for the New York Giants on the left side for 10 to 15 years. And I think it was the safest pick of anybody that was picking at the top of the draft. You look at Okuda, he's already been banged up, hasn't played that well. We mentioned Isaiah Simmons. He's been struggling early on. I think Andrew Thomas was a very safe pick, and I think when you factor in the competition he's gone up against so far, he's played well. I'm not saying he's played incredible, but he's played well, and I think he's going to continue to mature and get even better. Let's see what we got here. Jason, man, thank you so much. Says Baddog needs to join Fisk and rant on Cowboy fans. I've seen the Fisk been getting a lot of hate from Cowboy fans recently.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I saw Fisk's video. Well, for me, a little bit too many politics. The last video that I watched, I'm like, I can't mix politics. I refuse to do that. But I have ranted. I don't know. Actually, I don't know why Fisk is going off on the Cowboys. I honestly don't. I don't care. I always love anybody that bashes the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys with a passion. But honestly, I don't know. I guess my focus has been more on the Eagles and the Cowboys because Cowboys to me are decent. I mean, I know he went off of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a crappy owner. I mean, he's garbage. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's the reason they won those championships. I mean, let's be honest. They haven't won anything after Jimmy Johnson. I know Switzer won, but I could have coached that. My son could have coached that 90.
That was an ego thing. All along with Jerry Jones.
But that happens with Parcells. That happens with the best of coaches.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just what am I going to do? I mean, why am I going to bash? I kind of made fun of him today. I mean, I made fun of, Philly 500 Mark Holmes saying both your teams are trash. So,
what my mindset is, Baddog? For me anyway, it's hard for me. I guess I go by the mindset of don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And it's hard for me as a Giants fan. Yeah, here and there I could rib on them a little bit, but it's hard to go over the top bashing the Eagles and Cowboys when we're not winning football games. So, because you
just read it the first week when they both lost. Look at my videos.
No. When the time is appropriate, I get it. But overall, for a season, if your team's winning, like the last 3-4 years, we've been so bad. It's hard to go for me anyway. for me.
Listen, why do you think my channel shifted directions?
Yeah,
my team's 3-13. We haven't beat the Eagles in a decade. It just sounds stupid at this point.
Yeah,
I can't do that. Now, I still can tell them that they stink. And when they had the cap, I still can tell them, you guys, your window is closing, and you got 2 years, and they didn't do it. Last year was it. And that was it. That was their opportunity, and that's it. It's done now. I said they were going to miss the playoffs in a couple of years. They're going to miss the playoffs this year. They're not going to be a good team. They're going to take a few years to get out of it.
Yeah, they're beginning. They're kind of in like 2015 phase for the New York Giants. They're starting to go down. Now they might recover quicker than we did, but they're starting to go down. I agree with that. I think they're in trouble.
They're going to need a quarterback. They don't have one there right now.
Well, we'll see. Wentz might recover. The way Wentz is playing right now. Nikki, man, thank you so much. What were you saying?
And Jalen Rager stinks. They had a terrible first 2 days.
Oh, Rager was a horrible pick. Nikki, man, thank you so much. Says, guys, Greg Rousseau is very raw and opted out. High potential to bust. Patrick Surtain is locked in at the top 15 and a consensus top 2 cornerback. Roll Tide. It's a great point you bring up about Rousseau. He's not playing this year, and that was the book on him. He's the best edge rusher in this class when you read the mock drafts months ago, but he wasn't labeled like this Chase Young type prospect.
One thing I say, Nikki, is this, and I can speak from experience in this. Don't put your heart into your draft. Just because they went to Alabama don't mean they're going to be great. Quentin Williams hasn't done anything for the Jets, right? So this happens a lot. It happens to me with Oklahoma guys. I put my heart and soul into Sterling Shepard, and he ended up being awful. Now I'm doing this receiving, but now I did it with Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield stinks. I did it with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looks like he's going to be the real deal. So, it is what it is. Now, Sam Bradford, I don't remember how I felt about Sam Bradford coming. Sam Bradford wasn't the same.
He just had a lot of bad luck. He got hurt a lot. He was in a lot of different schemes.
He got hurt his junior year at Oklahoma. He hurt his shoulder. He was never the same after that. Plus, he lost Ryan Broyles, which really made him look good. When Broyles went down and Dominique Whaley went down, he lost his running back. They weren't the same offense. So, I don't know. I never really – I forget what my opinion was of Sam Bradford, but I'm just saying, like I said, a lot of times I'm thinking with my heart, like, oh, he went to Oklahoma, he's going to be great. But I do the same thing. I don't think Hurts is going to be good. I didn't think Neville Gallimore is going to be good for Dallas. Like, they asked me about Charles Tapper a couple years ago. I'm like, Charles Tapper's a nobody.
Yeah.
Right? There's nobody good. I don't know what Kenneth Murray's doing. Anybody know what Kenneth Murray's doing? Because I haven't heard anything about Kenneth Murray. There's another guy I absolutely love.
I think he's actually playing – he's on the Chargers, right?
Yes, he is.
I think Kristen Orr was telling me he's playing well.
Okay. Because I absolutely love him.
Yeah, I think. But I obviously don't watch him.
Sometimes you get blinded by your college team's colors. It happens to me. So I don't know enough about Surtain. I couldn't tell you. I'll watch more of him this year, but I don't know enough about him.
Yeah, I will say I haven't watched film on him, but he's not the only person I've heard that from. A lot of people love Surtain, and it's not just Alabama fans. So
SEC guy. I mean, it's understandable. They're the best Power 5 conference in the country. It's not close. I mean, the Big is getting there, but that I watch the SEC and but I didn't watch Alabama at all. I don't think I watched an Alabama game at all. I watched a lot of LSU, and
we watched a little bit of it at the bar. They were playing, I think, LSU when we were at the Giants game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I started. I was watching it at the hotel.
Yeah, you watched it at the hotel. Yeah.
But I was streaming and drinking. I don't really watch the game.
That's true. Simon, man, thank you so much. He says, not talking about Roldy, but there are fans that root for their team and criticize, and then there are fans that straight up say stupid, unrealistic. I agree with that, Simon. I completely agree with that. There are definitely a lot of fans that say unrealistic things. And I don't think Roldy's one of those fans, but I agree with you. Grim, man, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, I blame Gettleman for this, not because I don't think he knows talent. I think he had a flawed concept of building a roster. Running back is too injury prone, and offensive line is dependent to build an offense around a star. Grim, I agree with you, but it also goes back, and this is speculation on Baddog and myself's part. We both think that he was forced to try to fix that team right away because ownership wanted Eli Manning to be the guy. And we don't know that. We'll never know that. But I get your point, Grim, that they didn't have the pieces around Saquon Barkley to get the most out of him. And that's a position that usually falls apart after 7 or 8 years if you look at the averages.
We can say that all we want, But how good was Saquon's rookie year?
He was phenomenal.
So I don't understand how it was the wrong pick.
The offensive line was good, though, in the second half of the year in 2018. The offensive line was pretty good in 2018.
He was good in the first half. They didn't run him enough. They ran him more in the second half of the season. They were giving him the ball 20 times a game. So they just gave him the ball more. But he had such a huge rookie season, and that's why I don't understand how it's a bad pick. Now, you can't know he's going to get his ankle broken in the second game or the third game of the season.
You can't predict that, yeah.
Miss 4 games and then come back too early, and then once he was healthy, he blew it up again. And you certainly can't expect the guy to tear his ACL. That had nothing to do with the bad offensive line. He was out in space. That happens sometimes.
That's just a fluke. That's just a fluke thing.
Nick Bosa did the same, tore his ACL. I mean, it's part of sports.
Same thing happened to Adrian Peterson.
Right. Well, Peterson did it twice, but he's God, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he's the most physical freak in the history. He's ridiculous. He's so right. That guy's going to be the all-time leading rusher. That guy's he's going to be like Brady. He'll be 44 years old. He's going to be running down the damn field. He's ridiculous. He
had almost 100 yards week 1. I don't know how he did week 2.
14 carries.
Yeah.
What the hell did we take him?
Yeah, he's insane.
I'm a Sooners fan. I would have loved it. I would take him in his twilight of the Giants any day just to say he was a Giant, just so I could buy a damn Peterson Giants jersey.
Zach, man, thank you so much. He says, as much as Wentz gives the ball to the other team, I thought he was a punter, Zach says. Yeah, he's been turning the ball over a lot so far this year. That's for damn sure. And Direman says, how many games does McKinney have? Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in the chat may know this. I think he's not eligible to come back till the 9th game. I think when he was put on the IR, I think he's not eligible for the first 8 games.
I think it's 8 weeks. Jalen Reagor just got put on the IR, so he's out 8 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's mid-season IR. I could be wrong on that. Somebody correct.
November, he's eligible. Like the middle of November, I want to say.
They may wait till after the bye, too, because after week 8, you got 2 games, then you have the bye. So maybe you get an extra week to prepare him in the defense and get him ready. I could see them easing him back into the defense, and then he plays the last 6 games. But, yeah, I think it's after week 8 where you could first come into the game. Funk says, I think the Giants need a great wide receiver. Yes, they have holes, but every team plays to counter Barkley, and they blitz a ton. They can't do that if the Giants have a good – I agree. I think we need a good wide receiver. I don't know if we need an elite, but I think we need an improvement in the wide receiver core. I agree with that. I don't necessarily think we need the top 3 wide receiver in the league, but yeah, I think we need another good young wide receiver. I will agree with that.
Roldy's saying we were 5-11. I get that, Roldy, but my point is that team was a lot better than 5-11 in my opinion. They lost some close games. Like Chris said, we lost on a 63-yard field goal. Carolina had 5 downs in that drive to get a 63-yard field goal. We should have been 7-1. At the end of the season, we ended up being 4-4, but we had Indianapolis beat. We had Dallas beat. We lost those games too. Never lost.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other. Oh, the Eagles. We should have. We were up 17 points on the Eagles.
Yep, that was. Those are Shermer's thing. My point is this: there was not one player that we were going to bring in 2018 that was going to make us winner. Quentin Nelson, as great as he was not going to make us a winner. We would have been handing off to Wayne Gallman. I mean, was Gallman going to?
And the defense still sucked.
The defense was still bad, right? So I get that we were 5-11, but Barkley had a great year. I mean, you saw that year, you're like, oh, he's only going to get better. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But
yeah, let's think about this. And I'm not saying in retrospect that Nelson wouldn't have been the right pick, because obviously Barkley's hurt. Nelson is the best guard in football. But if we draft Nelson, I still think we're like a 6-win team. I don't think we're like – and if Barkley got drafted by the Browns, and let's say the Browns went to the playoffs and Barkley's rushing for 1,500 yards, what would have been Giants fans' thought process then? So it's always easy to just look at it. You know, yes, you could say that, but you might have felt completely differently if we took Nelson and Barkley ended up with the Browns and Barkley's winning rushing titles like Christian McCaffrey. So you never know.
Right.
You never know. And Simon, thank you so much. We're going to end this in a couple minutes, guys. He says, we need someone who is simply as solid as Slayton. Yeah, I would like maybe somebody a little bit better than Slayton. But yes, I agree. We need 2 good young receivers that could stretch the field. I agree.
I don't understand why, though. I don't get it. I mean, when Todd Gurley was killing it with the Rams, who were the receivers?
Well, they had good receivers. They didn't have elite receivers, though. I'm not saying we need – I don't want to take a receiver in the first round.
Receivers, who is blowing you away when Todd Gurley was rushing.
Well, that team, they had Cooks. They had
was
Cup
on the team.
I think he was. I could be wrong. I think he was. They had Cooper Cup. They had Robert. They had Robert Woods, Cooper Cup.
When Gurley was a rookie in 2000.
Oh, when he was a rookie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is when Gurley had his best years.
Oh, okay. When Gurley was a rookie. Okay. Yeah. No, they didn't have any elite receivers on those teams.
And who was their quarterback? It wasn't Goff. So who was their quarterback? And that guy still ran forever. Yeah. That's my point. You know, I don't feel like you need – if you have a good running back, I don't feel like you need great receivers.
If you have a great offensive line.
Right. That's my point. We need more than the receivers. I
agree with that. I'm always line over receiver.
Receiver spot, let's address the line some more.
I'm always line over receivers.
That's just my point. I love that Odell Beckham back at God. I would love that Odell Beckham on the other side of the slate. That'd be great.
But I think the point is from them is they're expecting the line to be pretty much done. They're just young and hopefully improving. You hope that Parrott's the guy, and maybe now you bring in that receiver to complete the offense. So I could say, but I'm always with you that the offensive line is much more important than a wide receiver. I will never change that.
I'm pretty sure Brandon Cooks was on the Saints in 2015. I could be wrong, but
he might have. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Simon says, I already read that. And Grim, man, thank you so much. You have to look at the shelf life of a running back. You can predict this. The player that touches the ball the most in a game suffers the most wear and tear. Yeah, it's like a catcher in baseball. Same thing. Catchers break down by the age of 30, 31. Same thing with running backs. So,
predicted a guy to have a broken ankle and a torn ACL.
That you can't predict. Yeah.
I mean, you want to say Barkley would have been shot by 29, I can get on board with that. But to think that he's going to have injuries, serious injuries his first 2 years, I don't think you can predict.
That you can't predict. That's just bad luck.
Chris and I talk about this is why running backs want that contract immediately. Or teams want to give that to him earlier because they know by the time that contract's up, they're going to be 30 years old and they're done. They're not going to get any money. So they need to cash in like Zeke did, right?
Zeke, Gurley, all these guys.
Zeke carries the ball 30 times a game. He ain't been hurt.
Yeah.
Zeke carries the ball more than anybody. And
I think it's just the way that he runs.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like I said, I get that. Running backs have the shortest shelf life. There's no doubt about that. But it's not like we're talking about Saquon Barkley 8 years into his career saying he's done.
Yeah.
This is an unfortunate set of circumstances that have sidelined him, but that has nothing to do with wear and tear. It's just bad luck. And torn ACL is bad luck. I mean, how many carries does he have this year where you would say that was wear and tear on?
No, it's bad luck. The last 2 years have been bad luck. Peter, man, thank you so much. He says the Colts O-line just isn't fair. The Colts O-line's phenomenal. And now you got Jonathan Taylor running behind that O-line. Imagine Barkley behind that O-line when he's healthy. That's what we're trying to build here. But guys, man, we went a little overtime. It's 12:18. First off, you guys were amazing. We had over 400 people in here the entire night. I just want to say thank you to all you guys for always supporting this. I'll be live again tomorrow night doing the night before. Baddog will be live doing the Laker thing. And then we'll be back here Sunday doing the Giants game. So hopefully you guys come on by for that. I just want to again say thank you to all you guys for coming by for the stream, showing all the support that you guys always do. Kush, I see you in there. Funk, I see you in there. Fisk, I see you in there. What's going on? Nick Young in here. Nikita, thank you to everybody for being here. Really do appreciate it. And Baddog, man, say it every week, man. Love doing this show. Looking forward to episode 100, whenever that is. I know it's coming up soon. Yeah, man, thank you for coming on the channel. Looking forward to calling the game with you on Sunday. Hopefully come out with a win.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I say it all the time. I never say it enough. You guys and girls make this show unbelievable. Like you said, I almost once a week I'll go back and just watch where Chris and I started. It's amazing to see how this show has grown. It's unbelievable. And the Giants have been terrible since we started this show. Well, actually, it's funny, Chris. I think when you and I started the show, they won like 3 in a row.
They won like the first 3 times.
They're like, oh God, we're good luck, and then they went back to the Giants. But still, the fact that we're 12-38 in our last 50 games, and like I said, not only you guys in here, but just seeing new content creators come out consistently and talk about the Giants makes me very proud of our fan base. I know we're aggravated. I'm aggravated too. I'm a very impatient guy. Very impatient. Now, having a 3-year-old has definitely tested my patience, and I think I've become a lot more patient because of that. I've had no choice. But when it comes to my sports teams, I'm very impatient. I'm very tough. on my teams, especially when I feel like they should be better. That's why I'm so tough on the damn Yankees, because I feel like the Yankees should be way better than they are. That's why I'm tough on Daniel Jones. I feel like Chris mentioned earlier, it's tough love because I feel like Daniel Jones, I give him a lot of credit for being really good, and he hasn't been. So I'm gonna get on his case, just like I would Saquon Barkley, about missing blocks, about dancing around in the backfield. It is what it is. My point is, as bad as we've been, you guys continue to support the show. You continue to support us. You're in our live streams. You watch our videos. Really appreciate it because, again, the show is nothing without you guys and girls. It's amazing to me. And I say it every time. Just wait until we're good. It'll be so much more fun. We have fun anyway.
Oh, forget about it. When we get good, we're not going to have to reminisce about the old times. We're going to be talking about the current state of affairs.
Wait till we're 10-2 and swept the Eagles and Cowboys.
Oh, it's going to be a party.
It'll be unbelievable. And it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. And by the way, there's Baddog's channel right there. Go over there, check it out. Thank you for posting that, Dyer. I got a couple of donations I got to read, and then we're going to close it out. Thank you both. Love you. We love you too, Alexis, man. Thank you for being here. Zigman, I appreciate it, man. Thank you to what time am I starting the stream tomorrow, Funk Ops? I'm going to be starting it probably around 8:30. That's usually when I start those streams. Funk Ops probably around 8:30. Diehard says, as far as Evan Ingram, the best case scenario for the Giants is that he balls out so we can trade him, hopefully, for a second-round pick. If we get a second-round pick for Evan Ingram, I'm kind of for it for sure. But it goes back to what I said before. If you trade Evan Ingram at this point, what the hell does Daniel Jones have to throw to? So, he's kind of in a tough situation right now.
He did it last year.
Yeah.
It's
a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. Chizola, man, thank you so much. He says, world doctors claimed on the British Journal that athletes have an 83% chance of coming to full health after healing from an ACL. Elite athletes is 90%. Yeah, I saw that stat, Chizola. I think it was on – what's going on, Jose? Thank you for popping in. I think it was on Twitter I saw that stat where they said he has a 90% chance of fully recovering. But because of the state of the injury, I've also heard people say it might be 2 years until he's 100%. They think he'll be able to play by next year.
Robert Griffin was never the same.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
Peterson is, because Peterson, like I said, is just not a human being. But that ACL tear messes a lot of people. And one thing I don't understand, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk about, I don't know the numbers. Whatever. I'm not a doctor. But what I do know, and it's hard, I don't understand why an athlete would have a better chance recovering. That's a tendon. Your tendons never get stronger. Like your tendons don't. They dry out and they get weaker. That's just what tendons do. It doesn't matter how strong your tendons are always the same. They can't get through. Now, when you put a new tendon in there, yeah, like Tommy John surgery, you're putting a tendon from your ankle in your elbow. That's a different story. It's a whole different tendon. But as a guy that works out, I know this. As you get older, man, your tendons get more and more sore. They don't get stronger. No matter how hard it is, they only get weaker. So I just don't understand that. Maybe that does have something to do with their I don't know. I mean, maybe their tendons are better than ours. They probably are, but that's a tendon thing. It's not a muscle thing. It's not a bone. So I don't know. It's weird. But obviously I want him to recover. We need him. Yeah,
for sure. And Roldy, man, thank you again, man. Roldy, I just want to say, Roldy, man, thank you so much for the incredible generosity all night and Saturday as well last week. You've been more than enough, man. I really appreciate all the love you always show my channel. He says, shout out to both of you guys. Much respect. Bad Dog. See you at the Lakers tomorrow. So there you go. You guys will have some fun watching the Lakers.
Tomorrow we close it out.
I think you guys will tomorrow. I think you guys will.
Yeah, we'll close the finals. Well, the Celtics are going to come back, and they're not going to – actually, did they win tonight? Does anybody know what that score was tonight?
I saw Miami was up, but it was only around halftime, I think. But it was too early in the game. I don't know what the score was. I could look it up real quick. I can tell you if they won. I personally think I'm kind of rooting for the Celtics just because I don't have a dog in the fight.
Celtics still win, somebody just said.
Celtics won?
Yeah. The Celtics are going to come back in that series.
Yeah, they did. 121-108, so now it's 3-2.
They're going to force Game 7.
I'd like to see a Celtics-Lakers just from the historical context.
I guess I'm streaming that game Saturday. I told Johnny Gonzalez, I told a lot of people the other night, I said if they force Game 6, I'll stream the game Saturday. So I guess I have back-to-back NBA games.
There you go. Now, you mean Sunday, right? Yeah, Sunday they play Game 6. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah.
Celtics played 7:30.
Yeah.
For me, yippee.
But guys, we are going to call Peter, man. Thank you so much, man. He says, Bad Dog, why are you a Laker fan because of LeBron? He's a Knicks fan, Peter. He just calls.
Peter knows that. I mean, I don't don't understand that. I don't know why people ask me that. LA Lou actually has a disclaimer he drops in the chat that says Baddog is a Knicks fan, streams the Lakers games because he has a wife and a son, and he likes to spend time with them. The Lakers play at 10:30 when his wife and son are sleeping. So he can't do the Knicks at 7 o'clock. But Peter knows I'm not a Laker fan. I don't know why he asks that. Peter's been on my streams. Peter's been on my community notes. I've streamed the Lakers for 2 years. I've never claimed to be a Laker fan. Do I root for them when I'm streaming them? Absolutely. I have 4,000 Laker fans in my stream. I want them to win for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Go over there, have fun with the Lakers tomorrow. If you want to talk Giants, you come on over here for a bit. But thank you to everyone. Chris, are you done with the Mets? The Mets are done, Simon. The Mets are 3 games out, 2.5 games out with 3 games to play. Mets are out of it. So maybe I'll call it last game of the year. I doubt it. And Peter, man, thank you so much. Says, my bad, I forgot. Peter, I appreciate the love. And Sports Expert says, if the season ended today, Indians, Yankees in Cleveland. There you go. There's your first round matchup. You get to beat up on Sports Expert the way the Yankees been playing.
We ain't beat up anybody. Yankees been terrible.
Well, really? I don't watch the Yankees. I know they won like 9 in a row or something.
Winning streak, they're like 3-6.
Are they? Okay.
They're like I said, it's a 3-point shooting.
They're like the stock market up and down.
You're hitting threes, and you're like Houston. If Houston's hitting threes, can't beat them. But it's inconsistent, and when they don't hit threes, they're garbage. That's the Yankees. When they're hitting home runs, impossible to beat. They hit 20 home runs in 3 games, possible to beat. But then they all go cold, and they all suck. And they can't field, and Sanchez stinks. How many times are they going to say it? As long as Gary Sanchez is on his team, Yankees never win. Gary Sanchez sucks. Single A Sanchez, get him off the team. Play Kyle Higashioka. He had 3 homers in 1 game. He can field. He almost hit 4 homers in that game. Way better than Sanchez. Sanchez hits 1 homer every 35 at bats after he struck out the previous 34, and he flips his bat like he's God. I want to punch right in the throat.
Chisolo says it's hard to stream Knicks game. It is. I stream Knicks games, and it's hard. And I usually go for about the first 20, 25 games of the season. I'll do 1 out of every 2 or 3, and then they're like, oh,
I'm just getting home from the gym when they start playing. So.
Yeah, well, I do Knicks games, and trust me, it's not easy. So I get where you're going with that, Chisolo. They usually get me through about a quarter of the season, and then people are like, yeah, why am I watching this team? So, but guys, again, you guys are way too nice to both of us. Thank you guys for all the love tonight. Thank you to anybody that may have subscribed. Once again, I'm going to shout out Baddog's channel. We'll be here Sunday, and then next week we'll be there for both streams. So go on over there, check them out. We'll be doing the show there next week. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for everything you do for both of us. Have a great night. Get some freaking sleep, guys. What is it? It's 12:28. Get out of here. Go to bed. Have a good night, guys.
Later.